I'm your host, Aaron, and tonight I have a special guest with me. I have my friend Matt right here, Matomic himself, amateur wrestler for one night, absolute wrestling aficionado, loves the behind the scenes, loves the front of the scenes, loves wrestling. Tonight I brought him on because we're going to have a fun chat, open some product, talk about WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania week. We have done lots of content this week. We are looking forward to this weekend. WrestleMania is back. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling, and most importantly, it's going to have some fans in attendance. We're going to start seeing shades of WrestleMania of old. Matt, are you looking forward to this weekend, man?
I can't wait. I've been waiting for another good WrestleMania for an entire year because we didn't get one last year.
Right.
We got a pre-recorded one last year, and it was not what we're used to.
Right. Are you, as far as the fans being back, how do you feel about that? You think it's going to make a big difference for WrestleMania this year?
I think it makes a huge difference. I mean, a lot of the wrestlers, especially the ones that I know, they talk about it all the time. It's very different to wrestle in an empty arena with just camera crew there versus 40, 50, 60, 70,000 fans.
Right.
I mean, you get that adrenaline going. You can put on a much, much better show when there's 70,000 fans there versus when there's the traditional camera crew there.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think we saw that with NXT pay-per-view over the last couple of nights. They had a little bit more of a crowd. I mean, I know that they've had somewhat of a crowd of entertainers in the crowd for a while, but it was definitely a more packed house. They did a lot with the video screens to make it seem like it was a more full audience, and you could definitely tell that it had a major impact as far as the wrestlers, I think, because that was 2 nights of very, very good matches. Some of the better NXT matches we've seen in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it just gives that ambiance when you're watching it. It makes you want to be there because you see all these people there and you can hear the noise, and they're not. You can tell the difference if you watch enough wrestling, especially you and I can tell the difference when they're pumping in crowd noise versus actual crowd noise.
Right.
And one of the things that, I personally miss a ton from prior to the pandemic is you get some of these chants, some of these crazy fan chants, and we haven't had anything like that in forever.
Right.
So I'm assuming over the next 2 days we're going to get some pretty good chants going.
You could tell they were trying because they definitely brought a few kind of piped in chants in the last number of weeks for like Raw and SmackDown, and you could tell that they were not natural because they started at an awkward time and they didn't really carry through like the natural way. Like when a crowd brings up a chant, it starts kind of at an awkward moment, but it's at the right time, and then it kind of tapers off appropriately. And when you're watching them do the taped recordings of piping that in, it's like it just randomly starts, and then instead of it just kind of like fading away, it just kind of like ends like abruptly.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't grow in or grow out.
Right,
it's just like somebody clicked the play button.
Right. And there's some mixer guy there that's like, oh God, I got to get this right or else Vince is going to fire me, but at the same time, I think NXT showed over the last couple of days that the crowd noise makes a big difference. Seeing the way that pay-per-view was handled, that was some of the most entertaining wrestling that I have seen in a while as far as WWE is concerned. Obviously, NXT, I think in both of our opinions, typically outshines main roster for a lot of actual in-ring performance. The storylines are hit or miss. They do a little bit less in story there and more in-ring storytelling, which is back to traditional days, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But as far as the actual performance of the pay-per-view Stand and Deliver, very impressed with that. I assume you felt the same way.
Yeah, I think that they did a good job. We got to see a bunch of really cool matches finally come to like fruition. They've been building up towards some of these things, and then I actually personally have friends that are on that show. People that I've met through the indies that are on there. Our friend Ember Moon, she started here in DFW. We used to watch her wrestle in a gym, like an actual weightlifting gym. They just had a boxing ring in there. She used to wrestle there. So to see her on the card and stuff, and for NXT as well. I mean, this is their Super Bowl as well, even though it's not WrestleMania.
They got a 2-night pay-per-view. I mean, that's legit cool. Yep. I was super happy to see that because they were getting a true stand-up for the NXT card, and the NXT wrestling is some of the best that you're going to see as far as WWE is concerned. Honestly, I think some of the NXT wrestling is some of the best you're going to see on any mainstream wrestling performances. Obviously, some of the indie stuff can be pretty intense and a lot of fun, but as far as what you see televised on mainstream, NXT probably takes the cake most days for that. So, with that being the case, hello, Sizemore. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for our WrestleMania Spectacular tonight. Appreciate you being here. Man, we're going to have a fun night tonight. So let's talk a little bit before we get too in-depth, because both of us are kind of jonesing to talk wrestling, and we're going to be talking wrestling for a little while here tonight, everybody. But the one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is kind of going into this weekend. For people that don't really know much about wrestling, you know, let's assume that the audience that's out there doesn't know anything about wrestling. Let's just chat back and forth for a minute about the importance of WrestleMania. You know, in comparison to like other sporting events, WrestleMania would be the Super Bowl, right? It'd be the championship match. It'd be the biggest weekend. Typically, before the pandemic, there's an entire week of WrestleMania access where you get to go to a wrestling convention. You get to meet all the wrestlers. You get to get autographs, participate in activities, watch all kinds of dark matches and all kinds of fun stuff leading up to. It's one of the most fun things, and I'm looking forward to us getting that possibly back in normal form next year.
Yeah, next
here
year
in Dallas.
Yep.
But that being said, let's talk about the lead up, okay? What is it like? You know, obviously the entire year is the season, and different storylines come and go. You kind of have a mid-season break with SummerSlam. SummerSlam kind of concludes the early storylines, and then you go in for the second half, and you have a few pay-per-views, Royal Rumble, and a few pay-per-views that lead up to WrestleMania. So, Matt, describe what, for the brand new person, what this build-up of the last couple of months means, and then culminates into WrestleMania. Just talk about that.
Sure. So, I mean, they do call it the road to WrestleMania.
Right.
And it starts at, like you said, the Royal Rumble. So that's a pay-per-view that normally starts about the end of January.
Right.
Because we've always done something for my birthday with it.
Right.
That's where you start to set in motion these final storylines that will culminate at WrestleMania.
Right.
And most of the time, they are things that people have wanted all year long as a fan.
Yeah.
They'll give you little instances of it throughout the year, and you're like, man, that would be good. And, you know, it's like from January on, it's just gas pedal to the floor.
Right.
And they build into these stories, and they culminate at WrestleMania. Most of the time, they are stories that, you know, they could have been laying the foundation for that a whole year prior. I mean, we've seen that in the past.
Sure.
That the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, we have seen The Rock show up and challenge John Cena to WrestleMania the following year.
Right.
364 days ahead of time or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's just, it's kind of crazy. So, I mean, we're getting basically the bookend on our season of wrestling. And it's been intense since January. I mean, there are some storylines that you're like, what?
And I got to say, you know, one of the biggest things about this WrestleMania that's been kind of weird, it feels like the pandemic condensed some storylines. We know that in the beginning of the pandemic, they really kind of took away from stories. They kind of just, you know, I'm not going to say phoned in some of them, but they were really kind of testing the ground of how wrestling was going to operate during the pandemic. And then as the pandemic, they kind of got in a rhythm, right? The stadium had no people, but they had the video screens with all the people there. When they kind of do that, one of the things that I think they got into a motion in the ocean, so to speak. It kind of just flowed through. They didn't really put a lot of effort into a lot of things. There were quite a few terrible pay-per-views this year leading up to it. But it feels like they had all these storylines throughout the year that they were kind of sitting on, right? Creative was probably just in the back going, we kind of want to do this, we kind of want to do that, we kind of want to do that. And it feels like, you know, December started. In December, they started laying some seeds going, well, are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? And then all of a sudden, you hit the January mark, and they start spaghetti theorying, right? Throwing it against the wall to see if it sticks. Testing the waters. Is this storyline going to work? Let's throw Daniel Bryan in this picture. Let's make this happen. Let's try this match. You know, let's have Edge do this. And I felt like the story building up to WrestleMania has been a little less than normal than what we'd expect, because I feel like there's been 2 pay-per-views between Royal Rumble and here. Normally, you usually only see one, but recently they've kind of expanded that. And I think they tried to cram a whole bunch of story pieces into those couple of pay-per-views and the Raw and SmackDowns in between, which ended up only being about a 7-week run to have basically 3 pay-per-views. So I'm a little disappointed in the way that they've done that. But normally you would see that kind of run up where the road to WrestleMania leads up to these big storylines, like Matt said, that have been culminating all year. This case, there are some storylines that are deep and there are some that are new. The Edge, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, we're talking 2 months, give or take, on that storyline, maybe. But honestly, Daniel Bryan is within the last 3 weeks because there was a pay-per-view 3 weeks ago. Honestly, a lot of that was the Edge-Roman buildup. But to be fair, Edge came in and there was a lot of secrecy. They kind of threw him at a couple of different places to try to throw off the audience. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but he is going to face Roman Reigns, which everybody anticipated upon his return. And then the next thing you know, we're going to throw Daniel Bryan in the mix 2 weeks before and see what happens. So that kind of thing jumbled together. Other side, Randy Orton. Randy Orton versus The Fiend is a feud that
6 months now.
Yeah, it got really good results back in October, November, December. There were shades of it. Randy Orton has been going through transition in his character, heel face. Now The Fiend is an evil face, if that can be, like everybody just kind of loves the Alexa Bliss Fiend thing.
Yeah,
and Randy Orton is kind of the bad guy. And it's really weird because it's, in theory, Alexa Bliss and The Fiend are supposed to be the bad guys. That type of story, though, has been building for months. And, they had Randy Orton kind of go off and face Drew McIntyre and do kind of a quick feud. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Alexa Bliss Fiend feud back. And Alexa Bliss added to that, by the way. I love it. I love the spooky stuff that they've done. Her character transformation's been great. I think it's been a good development. Not sure how I feel about Zombie Fiend just yet, but that's a conversation for later in the episode tonight. So all that said, if you're watching and you're new to wrestling, that's kind of what the road up to WrestleMania looks like, right? These storylines between these wrestlers we've built up for months. Now we're here, right? WrestleMania, the show of shows, the showcase of the Immortals is this weekend. We're getting 2 nights, Saturday night, Sunday night. Each night will have somewhere between 5 and 7 matches, and those matches are going to be, in theory, some of the best of the best as far as storylines that you could get all year long. Now, before we actually go into any of the WrestleMania stuff, as we mentioned before, NXT is the developmental brand. I don't even know if you can really call it that anymore because now it has a weekly episodic show on national television. And honestly, most of the wrestlers on there are equally qualified to be on main roster, minus a few. So not sure that it's truly a developmental brand anymore, but it's what's considered developmental, meaning the rookies, so to speak. And NXT is some of the best wrestling you will get to watch. I highly suggest going back if you've never watched NXT. Watch some NXT wrestling. The weekly episodes are pretty good. Since they've gone mainstream television, it's been a little less than what it was in the past. But the pay-per-views are still pretty good for NXT. And this pay-per-view, we got a 2-night spectacular, the WrestleMania, so to speak, of NXT. And, man, that was stand and deliver all right. I was impressed. I was expecting mid-card, and we got blow it out of the water. It's a high bar for WrestleMania to try to surpass as far as the in-ring wrestling was.
I mean, you have wrestlers there that are young.
Right.
And I think that's like when we say rookies, we just mean, they might have only been training for 10 years instead of these guys like Randy Orton who, he's probably been doing this for 30 years now.
Right.
Or 20 years at least, These other guys, they're young, but that doesn't take anything away from their ability.
Right.
And they're young, so these guys are doing stuff that we've never seen before. Like we were talking earlier, they had a tag team title match.
Yep.
And
which was wonderful, by the way.
And so MSK, they've only been around for a very short period of time.
Right.
I saw them in Austin when they weren't going by that name; they were going by their indie name.
Right.
And they're small guys; they're not
Right.
big. You and I are both bigger than them.
Right.
But oh my God, did they go? I mean, they just go. And their match had to be one of the best ones. From
that match was so impressive. I didn't get a chance to watch every match all the way through. I did check some highlights on a couple of them because, some of the matches were good. They just weren't as attention-catching to me. But I watched that match from start to finish. And I have to tell you, watching those 3 tag teams, I'm never a fan of triple threat matches personally. They're just not my favorite. They're very difficult for the wrestlers to perform because the spots, they have to kind of always know where the third person is, and talking and communicating in the ring to know where the spots are going to be. Sometimes that gets botched and it doesn't seem natural, and sometimes wrestlers just aren't comfortable with that, especially some of the young guys that may be less experienced. And it comes through when you're watching the match. The flow is just not as fun to watch. So watching a tag team triple threat match, that takes some skill.
Yeah, you're talking about 6 guys now.
6 guys. And to be honest, in NXT, sometimes it feels like the rules are a little different because the matches can kind of break down as far as who tags in and tags out. But I honestly noticed that in that match, as a side note for the veteran wrestling fans here, that they did a great job of actually maintaining tag in, tag out rules for all the ridiculousness that happened during that match. I was impressed. I was really impressed at how well that match was maintained and how entertaining it was start to finish.
I think it was probably one of the better matches on the entire card.
I definitely think Metzler should give that some stars.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if it'll be a 5-star match, but I think that should be in consideration for that and be 4.5.
Yeah,
so
they should definitely get at least a 4.
Yeah,
just because of
really
the sheer
good
fact that, like you said, that's 6 people trying to hit cues and trying to hit spots where they're supposed to make something happen,
and those guys put it all on the line. So I highly recommend anybody out there go watch NXT Stand and Deliver Night 1. You get to see that match with the triple threat tag team match for the tag team titles. I'm telling you right now, you will be thoroughly entertained. It's about a 20-minute match. Get your popcorn, get your beer, sit down, and be ready for some entertainment if you haven't already seen it. And let's talk a little bit more about that, because now we're talking NXT and Stand and Deliver. Obviously, I had some nice matches there that I really liked. Io Shirai, in my opinion, while that match wasn't the over-the-top match, she shined in that match because you could tell in a lot of ways she was kind of carrying Raquel, and she did a great job. Obviously she kind of sold so much there. She's a very small person in comparison to Raquel especially.
Sure.
But you could tell, like, Io Shirai, there's a reason she's been carrying that belt for so long, and you saw it in that match. She carried Raquel, which in my opinion is less skilled in the ring. And there's nothing wrong with Raquel. I just don't know that her in-ring talent is up to par yet. Io has been doing this for a long time, not just here in the U.S., so she's very, very, talented and very experienced. She's a veteran, basically, as much as it can be. And in my opinion, her carrying a match showed right there. She took the big bumps. While Raquel definitely took some bumps, you could tell that Io was willing to put all of the big stunts on the line because she was the one that was easy to throw around, easy to be power bombed. She was willing to do what needed to be done to make that match super entertaining and not just have the big girl beat her up. We say it in the men's wrestling, the big guy squash match where they just beat up somebody and show the dominance of power. Sometimes big guy versus little guy can be very boring to watch.
It can be.
And in this case, you had that for the women, but it was fairly entertaining to watch. And I think Io Shirai made it that way.
I think that I love when it goes kind of the way you said, where the smaller person is going to take the role of making sure that the match just goes on without a hitch. And that's what you really want, especially with a wrestler like Io Shirai. Like, we know she does big, huge backflip off the top and different stuff like that. You need a larger person to wrestle because, honestly, we all know it's scripted. It's not a,
Right.
They got to catch them, So, if you're going to do all these crazy spots and stuff, you need someone there to catch them.
Right.
And so I think that it was a perfect combination of the two of them, but there were some tough bumps. I'm sure that Io is going to be feeling that match.
That jump
for
off,
quite some time.
That jump off the skull, it's like 20 or 30 feet up. Yeah. And if you notice, I think that was supposed to be a full crossbody, and I think it was so high that maybe both of them at the last minute got a little worried about that because I think they were thinking, oh, that's going to crush somebody. So you see Io jump off, and she almost turns to the side, and so when Raquel falls to catch, Io lands halfway on her, and her knees hit the ramp. And she crawled from there down to the ring, and I honestly, normally you see them selling the maneuver, right? That's what we call selling the maneuver. They sell like they were hurt or like it impacted them.
That one might have been real.
I'm pretty sure that her crawling down there, her knee that impacted on the bottom was probably hurting. She probably had some numbness there because that fall was legitimate. That was a real bump, and I definitely think she was probably putting some ice on that after the match. A trooper after that for carrying that, though. Super entertaining. So, what other matches of the two-night event do you think stood out for you?
Well, one on night one that probably goes unmentioned just because a lot of people, if they don't watch as much as we do, when you get to like the really technically and really refined wrestlers, that could be very boring for someone to watch if they're not watching all the time. So you got a guy, Pete Dunne, and Kushida. And they had a great match. I thought it was one of the best ones on the card, but it was a very technical match.
Right.
So you get a lot of things happening that, if you're not really into wrestling, it might be a little boring for you.
Because a lot of, and what he's saying there is, if you don't follow wrestling a lot, sometimes the technical wrestling, there's some very difficult things that the two wrestlers have to be on very similar chemistry pages to pull off some of the flips and the connections with, some of the holds that they do, how they break them, and they'll go back and forth, kind of switching some holds and things like that. The wrestlers have to really know how to counter those in a fluid motion to sell that. Sometimes people that are not used to wrestling, as Matt was saying, they might find some of that boring because they're just like, oh, well, they're kind of just like jockeying for position. But those of us that watch a lot, as you get more into wrestling, you'll realize how difficult some of those maneuvers are for these guys to pull off. And you start realizing that, and it starts becoming entertaining because you're like, oh man, they pulled that off without a hitch, and that was super entertaining. Like, that was really good. That type of stuff comes out. So just to give some definitions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like combos, like a big combo, like in a fighting game or something, These guys are pulling off 10, 15, 20 moves back and forth with no break. No one's falling, no one's doing nothing. So they're like, to an average fan, they might be like, well, are they going to slam him? Or are they going to punch him or something? And these guys are just hold back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So they had a few really, really cool instances there where me, as a veteran fan, I was like, yes, this is fantastic. Another one they had on night one is they had a gauntlet match for who would face Johnny Gargano later on that night.
We got Bronson Reed,
Bronson Reed.
He's going to face on night two,
man. Bronson Reed is fantastic just because he's so big. I mean, this dude's got to be pushing close to 400 pounds.
He's big.
And he did a moonsault, backflip off top rope.
Right.
That is a big moonsault. And again, knowing that it's scripted, I do not want to be the guy that has to help try to catch him. So luckily, they moved. He just hit the mat. It's just, we're not even going to try to do it. You just hit the mat.
I mean, and that's got to take, that's a big bump because 400 pounds hitting the mat is bad for the 400 pounds hitting the mat.
Yeah.
It's not soft.
Yeah, as often as people say, oh, well, there's padding there. Trust me, I've been in one of those.
Right.
There's 2x10s under that padding.
Right.
It's an entire floor of 2x10s.
The padding is only yay thick, and 400 pounds moves through it very quickly. Think about your head on a pillow. Hey, Mata, welcome. Thanks for joining us, man. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah,
I absolutely, as far as the matches go, Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon.
Yeah, on night two. Awesome.
Really enjoying that. I like the duo. We were talking a little bit before we came on stream about that match. So that was a really fun match to watch, I think. Let's talk a little bit because the first introduction I had to Ember Moon was when she was called Athena, right, on the indie circuit. Mm-hmm. And by indie circuit, I mean, like Matt mentioned earlier, in a gym down the street from where we live. I mean, maybe 5 miles from where we live, paying like a $7 entry fee for a ticket to go in through a gym and sit basically on some fold-out chairs. Right behind me was like a bench press machine that they had moved out of the way and a couple of treadmills and stuff. And they put this ring up and they put these fold-out chairs. And I remember distinctly, we're there at MPX Wrestling, and I'm sitting here going, okay, this is pretty basic for local wrestling. Like, this is as local wrestling as you get, right? But Athena comes out, and that girl just runs and goes ham in the ring, bouncing off every rope, flips off the top rope, just going everywhere, every which way. I was super impressed, and you told me, like, the moment that her music hit, you literally went, Aaron, you gotta watch this girl. Like, this girl's crazy, dude. This is insane. And now here we are watching her wrestle on the main roster in NXT and WWE. We always knew she was going to get there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think the only struggles that she's ever had, the only reason that she is back on the NXT brand instead of back on the main roster, she was on the main roster for a while.
Yep.
NXT went to main roster, got injured. They brought her back in the NXT brand. I think part of that was she has struggled in some of her microphone skills. You know, early on. That's gotten a lot better, though. And they put her with Shotzi Blackheart, which is honestly very creative and just kind of off the cuff. And I think some of that comes from like her social media, because Shotzi has her own YouTube channel. She does a bunch of like horror movie stuff, and she's very.
I mean, she comes to the ring in a miniature tank.
Right, and she's
crazy. Her character
tank girl.
Yeah,
100% tank girl. If you're a fan of the comic books or the old movie, she comes in a miniature driving tank, and you know she has the cool little like military helmet. She has different color hair, and she's all gothic dressed, and she drives down in a little tank to the ring, and then jumps out and does a flip over the ropes. And you know, Shotzi does all this cool, entertaining stuff. Ember Moon does kind of the werewolf thing, where she's kind of like this like primal werewolf type of character. Not really a character. She's just like very Halloween-y. I'm going to say Halloween-y. I mean,
I can see that, yeah.
And that duo goes together really well. So very entertaining, very energetic, and their chemistry in the ring, both of them do a lot of I'm not going to say high-risk maneuvers. They do a lot of high-risk maneuvers. Ember Moon definitely does high-risk maneuvers. But their chemistry is just very fast-paced, and it works really well together, I think. And I really like that duo. I like them both individually. I like Shotzi a little more. Don't hate me, hometown people. I like Shotzi a little more because I just like her character development, and I think she's super entertaining and can carry the microphone a little better. But as a whole, I think they're super entertaining to watch. I do like that. Now, let's shift away from that. Let's talk real quick. Because I'm super looking forward to getting into open some product, because you've never opened a wrestling card in your life, have you?
No, not that I can think of.
Right. So, going to be super entertaining to watch Matt open some wrestling cards for the first time, and we got some really expensive product in front of us to open. But I want to talk a couple of things. So, first, most importantly, call-ups. WrestleMania. After WrestleMania, we get the Monday after the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yep.
And that is the biggest Raw of the year. Now, we're not going to talk about that Raw right now. We'll go into detail about that later. But the one thing about that Raw that makes it special is you have debuts. Now, sometimes that's going to be veterans that make an appearance after being off TV for a while. But why this ties into the NXT pay-per-view, this was the swan song in NXT for some of these wrestlers.
Absolutely.
And they don't announce it. You don't know. But they've given you some good ideas. Sometimes you can tell by the way the matches end. Sometimes there's the rumor mill, in the wrestling circuit. But a lot of times you're still left guessing who they're going to bring up. That's where I want to go with this, Matt. So let's talk right now. Give me 1 to 3 people that you think are pretty sure bets to be called up on Monday Night Raw from NXT to main roster.
I would say one of, if not the number one, would have to be Adam Cole.
Okay, yep.
He's been down there and he's been running NXT basically.
Right. He's carried it on his shoulders.
So long.
Absolutely.
And now they have so many more people down there, it only makes sense that they are going to put him on one of the brands. Now, is it Raw? Is it SmackDown? It's tough to say.
Right.
But, that would be my first pick.
Right.
For sure. Another one would be Io.
Right.
Like you said, she dropped the title, so there's not really a reason to have her fight Raquel again.
She's carried the title for 300 days or whatever, which, she drops it right before being one of the longest running title holders in NXT for the women's title. I think that you're right. I think there is some definite reasoning for that. I don't think she drops that belt and goes back into NXT and shuffles through the locker room. I think that makes her a contender coming up to the main roster, and I'll go into why I agree with that and what I think that means for the Monday after Raw, but I kind of have some ideas of where that's going to be going forward. Do you have any other prospects that you think are going to main roster?
They have some of those guys in the gauntlet that there's possibility they could move some of those people around, like Bronson Reed. His character is very simple. It'd be very easy to bring him up. Isaiah Swerve Scott. he's good too. They could add him to a bunch of things. Like he could very easily be part of that Hurt Business.
Right.
Which
is broken up for the most part, but very well could put it back together in some
There's a
way.
lot of options just because, like we've said, the season is basically starting over.
Right.
And sometimes they surprise us. Like when they called up Matt Riddle without Pete Dunne, we were
right.
like, what's going on?
That was shocking.
That doesn't make any sense. I think it'll be interesting to see if any of the other wrestlers that were in Undisputed Era with Adam Cole get called up.
Right.
Like Roderick Strong. Do they call him up? I mean, he's a veteran. He's been doing this for 25 years.
Right.
He's been wrestling longer than all of them in that.
And we've seen him wrestle live several times. I mean, I remember watching him in VIP. Super entertaining, very interactive with fans. His character comes off very arrogant. There's other words I want to use, but very arrogant. But outside of that, like the person as far as interacting with fans, super nice guy and really entertaining to watch.
Outside of VIP, I watched a fan pay him $20 to get an open hand chop in the chest at the after party of indie wrestling. He was like, I hear you have one of the hardest chops. I'll pay you $20 to take one. And he looks around. He's like, you've got to be kidding, right? He's like, no, man, for real. Can my friend video it? He's like, sure. And I mean, he lit this kid up. It was, it sounded like someone took two 2x4s and just slammed them together as hard as you could. And it was just his hand hitting this kid's, and there's a whelp.
Oh, I believe it.
Raised whelp of his hand. And I'm just like, why did you pay $20 for that?
I mean, yeah.
But, he's a good guy. He broke his neck and came back from that. So, there's a possibility that they may want to do something for someone like that, So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that group because they're obviously not getting called up as a group.
Right. Well, and I mean, any one member of that group has the talent to potentially carry the belt in NXT.
Sure.
The championship belt. I think maybe though they're a little concerned because Adam Cole can go to main roster. He could challenge for the championship in any one of those SmackDown or Raw brand and immediately carry the brand pretty well. He's done it for NXT. Mm-hmm. I don't know that that the other guys can say that. O'Reilly and Strong don't have the presence or the fan base. Adam Cole came in with a big fan base. Everybody knew who he was. He is, considered one of the top talents in WWE, but all of wrestling worldwide. I would love, in my opinion, and this is me kind of going a little off book here, but I would love to see Adam Cole go up and fight against AJ Styles because I want to see what that looks like in the WWE. Like, I want to see what that is. Those two people probably have the talent to put on one of the best matches that maybe the world has ever seen, and I want to see them do it on the biggest stage. And I think after everything, there could be a really good storyline that builds up to that. Especially with Aj and Omas and a number of other things that may come of that. But I digress. Adam Cole, I agree with you. EO, I agree with you. It's hard. I would have said Damian Priest, but they already brought him up. They brought him up specifically for a storyline with a non-wrestler. Everybody says that, and we'll talk about the WrestleMania card in a few minutes, but man, the Bad Bunny stuff, everybody says that Bad Bunny has been working very hard in training.
I hope so, because on paper, it is going to be terrible.
I'm a huge Morrison fan.
He's with three of the best wrestlers for carrying random talents. I mean, The Miz has fought every celebrity that they brought on.
And The Miz is very safe. I think The Miz is probably one of the safest, and I think that's part of why they put him with some of those talents, because he sells really well. He can carry the microphone if the star can't. He can sell matches really well and sell maneuvers really well, and he's very, very safe, so he's not going to hurt somebody worth a lot of money. I think when you add that, Damian Priest is considered to be one of the safer wrestlers. They said that he is very, very good. He's very safe, similar to Elias. They called Elias up without much run in NXT. That was a very surprising call, but apparently they needed some safe wrestlers to take some bumps.
It's got a good gimmick too.
Elias's gimmick is pretty good. The problem is, I'm worried that he's been there so long. As a side note, that his gimmick has put him into the eternity of mediocre. I think he's been squash matched too many times now to have a fan base take him seriously.
Yeah, he's going to be that what we call mid card. He'll never be in those top 3 matches anymore unless he's doing it with someone. Like he'll probably be involved. Because I mean, we'll get to it. He's doing the whole thing with Shane and Braun and whatever. He'll be the butt end of jokes. He's out there playing his little guitar, and The Rock comes in or something and does the whole mic thing, or John Cena or whomever. But it happens. I mean, we've seen a lot of wrestlers that we really, really like, completely fine being a mid carder. They're like, look, I'm working for the company of my dreams. Yeah, I'm getting a paycheck.
To do it week in and week out, and they're fine doing that for 10 or 15 years.
Hell, Heath Slater did it for 15 years or more.
Yeah, I mean, he's got kids, man.
He got beat up by every legend.
That's true.
One summer, like every legend that came on, he got beat by.
He took some bumps. He took some mad bumps. Man, so I'm looking forward to seeing where NXT goes from here and the call ups. We've talked about the prospects a little bit. We've talked about who may call up onto main roster, whether that's SmackDown or Raw. The SmackDown after WrestleMania has started becoming fairly entertaining as well. They're trying really hard to make that something. Now, Raw is still the main thing of the two, but I think that we're going to see a debut or two on SmackDown on Friday that is probably going to keep everybody guessing, and I think they're going to call up several people. For me, Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor's going back to main roster. I think he held the belt. I think he did what he needed to do. He passed the torch to Karrion Kross. And I think he sold himself as a top talent again to where the WWE Universe will remember who he is. It's almost like he came back and then they just kind of shuffled him into mediocrity. But Finn Balor is a talent that you can't do that to. Like, you can't deny how good he is. And if you keep putting him in mediocrity, he's going to go to AEW and carry their belt for a year. And, that's what's going to happen if you keep doing that to him. So, for me, I look at it and go, I think that there is a lot to be said for Finn Balor going to the main card. Otherwise, I agree with you 100% on the NXT call-ups. And I think Finn Balor probably goes to SmackDown. I think Adam Cole probably goes to Raw. And I think Io is going to come up and be a big part of the women's division. So, that's my thoughts on the call-ups from NXT. Okay. I want to open this product, man. You've never opened before. I want to open. We're going to open these women's division hangers. Now, these are 2017 hangers. Now, we'll move our little shout out here. Don't forget, we have our podcast Monday and Thursday nights, 8:30 Central Standard Time, right here on Twitch. We give free stuff away at 10 o'clock that night, and we also do personal breaks later in the evening, starting around 10:30. Now, Matt's never opened a wrestling card. Matt doesn't open much in trading cards. He's opened packs of like Magic the Gathering when he's playing games and stuff, but he hasn't done a lot as far as trading cards. Slowly but surely here recently, I've been getting him into the collectible stuff. He's been watching our content and talking to me about it. So Matt, I have 2 of these right here. Now, these are not cheap. This is a pretty good set. This is the women's division from 2017. The rookies in the 2017 class are not as good as some of the others that we're going to see, coming up here. But things to look for, obviously, the 3 main women here, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Bayley. Right now, Sasha Banks, belt holder on SmackDown brand, going to be facing Bianca Belair, and that's going to be a big, big match. I think Bianca's going to take the title. Sasha's probably going to leave TV for a while to film Mandalorian Season 3. But we have Alexa Bliss. Big transformation on her part.
She might
for
arguably be one of the most popular female wrestlers right now.
I would say she is the most popular. You can see it in her belt. You can see it in her card prices. Her stuff sells for triple, quadruple anybody else for the most part.
It's also very attractive.
There is that. I mean, I guess if you're into that, yeah. With her character changes, she has sold every character change. She's managed to keep herself relevant in WWE even when she wasn't wrestling. She probably went like a solid year, 14 months where she didn't wrestle a match. But being on TV with, the Touch of Bliss show thing she did and, that kind of stuff, she kept herself relevant and in the storylines, and that was a lot of fun to watch because she can carry a microphone. She's like a female version of The Rock in a lot of ways. Very adaptable, able to sell as a heel, as a face, and right now she's technically a heel, but everybody loves her.
Yeah, she's like she's definitely a heel, a bad guy.
Right.
But she's so popular that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Everybody likes her. So with this, we're going to open the women's division, the 2017 women's division blaster. Now, I'm going to open one, and Matt's going to open one. I'm going to let Matt go first. Matt, left or right, man? Choose which one you want.
I'll go left.
You're going to go left. All right. Have at it, man. Pop that sucker open. Open this for everybody to see. Let's see what we get here. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can just rip it.
Keep that thing sealed up.
Yeah, you might have to try the bottom. Sometimes on the hangers, the bottom's less reinforced. There should be like a pack of cards in there.
Good Lord.
It's fortified.
I know, like, no joke.
Let's see if I can get them. There you go.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There. Cool. So.
This is Matt's first time opening wrestling trading cards. As a huge wrestling fan, first time he's opening anything.
There's our friend Ember.
Show him up here on the camera so they can see him, yep.
Nikki.
Now in here there's autographs, there's kiss cards that you can get, there's relics and stuff. You're really mainly looking for
look.
Oh yeah, some old school
Miss
stuff.
Elizabeth. Summer Rae.
There's Alexa Bliss. That one's one of the more popular Alexa
that was
Bliss
the
cards.
Freddy Krueger.
I'll take that one because that one's going in the sleeve. Worth some money.
Carmella. Oh, Nikki Cross. Forgot that she.
Nikki Cross could be coming back soon.
Charlotte Flair. Man, you're getting a lot of Alexa Bliss in here.
There is a lot of Alexa Bliss in this. There's throwbacks of a lot of the veteran women as well. More Charlotte.
Yeah, we got a lot of
More Sasha.
Sasha.
Those I think are the.
Oh, there's your Trish Stratus. That's throwback.
There's a really cool one in I believe it's in the Chrome that is the fantasy match, and it's Trish Stratus, Alexa Bliss, and there's a dual autograph of it, which is really good.
Reese.
Married to the Miz in real life.
I don't even know who that is.
Really? That's old school.
Yeah.
That's super old school. Asuka in her
In a
NXT
dress.
debut. In a dress, yeah. And then Asuka base. Sasha Banks.
Banks. Bailey.
Another Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss. Sherry Martel. Okay.
I know, right? Apparently the Bellas are going to be coming back in the near future.
Yeah, oh no. Peyton and Billy. Leilani. And Nikki Bella. There's a lot in there.
There's a lot in there. There's a lot of cards. So no hits there, though. No hits, no numbered stuff. So that's a little disappointing, but that's okay. That's part of how this goes. That's the game. We're going to open another one here. I'm going to open one up. 2017 is an interesting year. It's not my favorite year as far as the cards are concerned. There are some, like 2015 is probably the best year because you get Alexa Bliss on-card rookies, like first-card rookies, and those are a really big deal. But then you have a number of other rookies on there. Sasha Banks is 2014, but she has a 2015 rookie card in a couple of different releases that year as well. So 2015 is probably my favorite. 2017 was reasonably good. 2019 is pretty good. 2018 is what has Ronda Rousey rookies in it. So if you were kind of looking for big names. All right, here we go. Aaron's going to open one of these. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, go in the bottom.
Going from the bottom.
Much smarter.
See if I can do it without tearing a glove because they got super thick. These hangers are always like super reinforced for some reason. Don't know why. There we go. All right. Alexa Bliss off the back. I like that. I don't see any thick cards. So no mem card, but looks like there could be a turn backwards something. So that could be an autograph. That might be good. Let's see what we got. Am I getting my hopes up for nothing? Probably, but we'll see. We definitely have some autographs to open tonight. Because we got one guaranteed hit in the blaster coming up, and we got 2 autographs in our finest box here soon. All right, so we got Bailey, Asuka defeating Nia Jax, thankfully. There's Charlotte Flair, another Charlotte Flair doing the same pose. Same pose, different night.
It's a go-to.
One with a belt, one without. There's Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson.
Now a motivational speaker. There's another Asuka. That's where in NXT TakeOver,
she beat the crap out of
Bayley to take the title.
Yeah.
And then she ran with the title for quite a while there in NXT.
The longest reigning.
Yep. There's Alicia Fox. Crazy, crazy, crazy Alicia Fox. Liv Morgan, her cards are worth a lot.
Wow, that's like her debut deal, because she's different now, her and Ruby Riott.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that this is 2017. I think 2016 was her debut. So I think her rookie cards are in 2016 product. But
I met her at Universal Studios.
Did you?
Yeah, she was there with Mojo Rawley. They were eating at a
restaurant.
restaurant.
Oh, yeah. I think they're really good friends in real life.
Terry Reynolds.
Asuka. Nia Jax. More Asuka. Asuka won a lot of stuff. There's Becky Lynch. Which one is that? First SmackDown Women's Championship. There is Team Raw. Those are never much fun. There's Bayley. Billie Kay. Man, I'm sad they broke up the Iconics. They were kind of comedic. Iconics. There's Ivory. Okay. Ivory was a good wrestler.
Remember her in Right to Censor?
Yes, RTC, man. That was a really terrible. Like, I hated them, but I didn't turn it off. Like, they were.
That means that they did well.
Yes.
If you hate someone on there, like vehemently hate them,
yes.
That means the writers are doing a good job.
And they did. With RTC, they did a good job. I hated them. And in the Raw deal card game, RTC was the most annoying to play against. They were terrible. There's Naomi. There's Trish Stratus.
Yeah, we got two of those now.
Lita.
That was in mine.
Running Bulldog, which was her signature move. There's the Rack Attack from Nikki Bella. Stephanie McMahon using Triple H's pedigree on said Nikki Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that may be Brie. I don't know.
Impossible.
Same thing. Same person, basically.
Tamina.
There's Tamina. Oh. There's a Sasha Banks doing a Meteora off the.
It's a bold move,
that
man.
may be off the top rope on the outside of the ring.
Wow. She's doing that Charlotte.
Yeah, that's Charlotte.
Jeez.
You can tell Charlotte's catching her. The arms up there, that is her catching her, and they're going to fall backwards, and that's how Charlotte keeps her head from crashing into the mat when it goes down, is she's able to pull her head up between her knees and hold on. There's Ember Moon that we were talking about doing the werewolf thing.
Mm-hmm.
Local girl here from Texas. There's Nikki Bella. Charlotte Flair again. There's Natalya. Emma! I miss Emma.
Yeah, she was. I liked when she was funny with Santino.
Yes, they did a good job together. I actually liked all of her gimmicks. I was really sad that they kind of botched her return, and I don't know what happened there, but that was really unfortunate. But apparently she's doing pretty good. I think she's at Impact now, right?
She bounced between AEW and Impact, and then Ring of Honor. So she's just doing different stuff.
Yeah. Kelly. There's Natalya. Some throwbacks. There's Emma.
That's another Emma.
That's the other variation of Emma.
Different gimmick.
This is when she was the bad guy. She's a heel. There's Aaliyah. I don't know what happened to this girl, but she's been in NXT for like 25,000 years. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I mean, she really has. She's got to be like part of their 2014 class. And she's still there.
At least. And she's been on a bunch of the like reality shows that they've done about NXT. Like, she's been there, and they always talk about how she's struggling to keep up, and she might lose her job. And the next thing you know, she's out on TV again, doing another match, and usually a squash match. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with her. There's Maurice. Lana, she's married to Rusev, which is now Miro in AEW. Another Wendy Richter. There's Asuka making her debut again. There's Asuka defeating Bayley to retain the NXT Championship. Sasha Banks defeating Charlotte. There's Bayley. And there's another Alexa Bliss card. Well, those two hangers were super disappointing because we didn't get any major hits out of those. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's just the way the opening cards goes.
It does happen.
We have plenty more to open, so stay tuned because we are going to be opening quite a few more cards. But before we do that, now I want to actually talk WrestleMania.
Yeah.
All right. So we've done this build-up with NXT and kind of where we're going. Let's talk the WrestleMania card. Okay. Now, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl, kind of the culmination of all these storylines and everything we've done. We've gotten here. It's a 2-night event. Night 1 is Saturday evening. There's no pre-show, apparently. All the matches are apparently going to be main card night 1 or main card night 2. So let's start with night one and kind of go down the matches, okay? So start with the first match on night one, or at least what we think will be. I mean, we have an idea of what the card is, but we don't really know the order. So we're just going to kind of go with, the flow that we might estimate it being and talk about each of the matches. So let's talk night one, match one. What are you thinking?
Match one is probably Shane and Braun.
Really?
Yeah, I think so because it's a cage match, and so they'll already have the cage set up. Then they can go to break. They can take down the cage because there's a lot of production that goes into that, using a cage and stuff. Sure. And that definitely won't be how they end the night.
Right.
So I imagine that we get that first. That's where we talk about Elias may be involved in that because him and Shane have just been making fun of Braun. And I think this is great because it gives Braun, it puts him back into the spotlight. He got into like a little trouble backstage, something, with somebody in real life. And, it caused him to be moved down the card or whatever, but I mean, you're gonna wrestle Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. You're gonna get that's a pretty good push, and I think that sets him up for for the win. I think Braun definitely has to win, and they'll push him back into some type of title or some type of big storyline. But I think that's what we start with, and I think like you said, we're gonna get a huge typical Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. He's gonna jump off of something real tall.
Do you really think that'll be opening match, though? You think that might be the
I think just production-wise, that's how it goes. That's...
Which, is John Morrison and Miz, are they night one or are they night two?
They are night two.
Really? Okay.
No, they're night one. Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus Miz and Morrison.
That would be... wait. Let's back up for a second. You and I have differing opinions on a number of matches. We agree on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to a friendly wager on who picks the most matches correctly?
I mean, it's fitting.
We do this every year.
We bet all the time.
We bet all the time, but more importantly, WrestleMania, getting together and watching WrestleMania is a tradition for us. We've done it for many years. We used to have a big group together. Obviously, COVID's not really going to allow for that. And we would do contests, and we actually had belts that we would do and all kinds of fun stuff. So let's bring some of that back. Let's do a friendly wager. What do you want to do? $20? Let's put $20 on. Something small, something easy. Or you got a better idea?
I got a pretty good one.
What?
We both have similar cars.
We do.
How about the loser has to wash the other's car?
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll just get out here in your driveway, and the loser's got to wash the other's car, detail it all the way out.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, everybody, you're hearing it right here. So, loser has to detail the other's car. Okay, we both drive Corvettes, so that's a fun, entertaining job. So there we go. We're going to bet whoever picks the most matches for the main card of WrestleMania, both nights combined, correctly, gets to make the other one wash their car, and we will take some film of it and make sure that everybody here gets to see it to show that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that. So now that we've gone through it, let's go through the matches one by one, okay? So we're talking Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon. We started there, okay? I actually think that it's going to be Bad Bunny, Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison to open the show. I think it's going to be that because I think Bad Bunny's going to open WrestleMania singing, and then I think he's going to come out and do a match, like he might sing his own intro or something to come down, and then they're going to have the opening match or something like that. Like I could see that because... I think the Shane McMahon Braun is going to be enough of a match where it's going to be a super entertaining match as far as Shane doing something ridiculous. And I think there's going to be a lot of cleanup from that. So I don't think it'll end the show, but I think it's going to be the one that they get to later on in the show.
To give you a break.
To give you a break and an intermission after the fact. Because I don't think it's going to be a long match, and then I think it's going to be... So let's start. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison. Who do you got? You can go first.
I'm going to go Miz and Morrison, that they steal a win.
Okay.
Very dirty finish of some sort. They cheat and they win.
Okay.
I'm going that way because I don't think this Bad Bunny guy and this Damian Priest are going to win.
Okay.
It just doesn't seem right.
Okay. So you got Miz and Morrison. I'm going to go Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. One, Damian Priest hasn't wrestled very many matches on TV yet. Okay? Typically, you don't lose your debut matches. More importantly, I think they are trying really hard with Bad Bunny actually training for this match to make it a real match. I think that Bad Bunny has a few good spots with Miz and Morrison. They kind of carry him through the match. I think it's a kind of a slobber knocker fest and some crazy, stupid stuff that happens. And I think Damian Priest comes in and saves the day and gets the win for that team. So I'm picking Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Not because I want to see Bad Bunny win, but I definitely feel as though that team is going to be a storyline push going into pushing Damian Priest for Monday night and going forward. And I think that's how they're going to do it, as maybe Bad Bunny fades into oblivion, whether he is on wrestling or not. Yes, Toby, we will stream the car washing. I will sit out with a beer and watch Matt wash my Corvette, or whoever loses washing the other's Corvette. We'll stream that. So everybody can jump in. We won't make the other wear a Speedo because God knows none of us want to put y'all through that torture and break your eye sockets. But just saying. Okay, so you say Miz and Morrison. I say Bad Bunny, Damian Priest.
Yep.
All right. Let's go ahead and pick Shane and Braun. Okay, you pick that you think Braun's going to win.
Yep.
I think that I agree with you. Braun's going to win because they're billing this as like a bullying thing. I don't think the WWE sends the message that the bully wins in the end. I think that Shane, like usual, does some ridiculous stunt off the top, of a cage, and Braun outsmarts him because that's the whole thing is Shane's calling him stupid. I think that's what ends up happening. And then, I believe that Braun also wins. So we agree that Braun is going to win. Unanimous decision. Heiberg says Hulk Hogan comes back and wins all the matches. Thanks, Chris. I don't know that that's going to happen, but that's a good thought, man. Hulk Hogan comes out and wins none of the matches, but maybe he comes out and breaks a hip. Hopefully not, though. That would be terrible. Speedo and wrestling boots. Toby, man, I'm going to tell you right now, don't nobody want to see that, at least from me. Matt over here maybe because he goes to CrossFit a lot, so he could probably do like the bouncing of his pecs and lifting some big weights and some stuff. But man, nobody wants to see me out there in a Speedo. Just saying. And also my neighbors, because we're probably going to do it in my driveway here. My neighbors, not about that life.
They already don't like how loud the cars are.
They already do not like how we both drive race cars. We both have Corvettes, just as a side note, and they are both very loud and souped up. And our neighbors don't like it. My neighbors don't like it. So we don't want to add on to that the fact that they have to see me or him in a Speedo washing these super loud, annoying race cars out in my driveway. I digress. All right, next match. Pick match. Let's see.
This is one of the weird ones that kind of, like you were talking about earlier, kind of came out of nowhere. I don't really understand it, but you have New Day versus Aj and Omas.
Yes.
And it's Omas's first match. Mm-hmm. Like, we've never seen him wrestle before.
Right.
So that one for me is weird, but I'm going to pick Aj and Omas. I think with it being his first match, they have to win.
Right.
Kind of like you said, someone with very limited matches.
Right.
I think New Day has had enough WrestleMania moments.
Right.
I think that New Day thing has even run its course. I think that you might even get a breakup. Possibly.
Really? You think they're going to split them off into singles match?
So what I'm thinking is if they split them up, because I hear Kofi is almost done.
Right.
If they split them up, then they could take Xavier Woods and they could move him over with Big E.
Right.
And then they could be a thing again. But that's just kind of off on a tangent of what they could do. But yeah, I'm going AJ and Omas.
Okay, so I'm New Day are belt holders, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is it for the belts?
Mm-hmm.
We have a guest appearance right here. This is our guest.
You can almost see him.
You can almost see him. You see a nose. There he is. There's Benson. This is our guest run-in. Running in from the back. Probably wanted to be carrying a chair, but it's not. Hi, buddy. Hi, welcome to the show. Everybody in the audience welcomes Benson to Area 51. Congratulations, welcome. Standing ovation, everybody's cheering. Benson, Benson. Most people probably prefer Benson over me anyway. With that being said, all right, buddy, go on. Let us do our podcast. Thank you for the kisses. Okay, so it's a hard one because I agree that almost losing a debut match kind of goes against everything that WWE has built. Usually a debut match you win, even if you're an unknown talent, unless you're in a squash match and you're not actually part of the roster, you typically win your debut match. In my opinion, I actually think that New Day retains. I'm going to go with New Day. I don't think we're going to get a breakup just yet. They're really trying to push Big E as a singles talent, and we'll see what happens. Big E's match, which we'll talk about in a minute, is kind of a gimmick match, and I feel bad for both those gentlemen in that match. But that being said, I really think that New Day retain. I hate to see Omos lose his first match, but I also think that it gets really entertaining with some of the high-flying maneuvers that Woods and Kofi do with Omos, and I really just don't think they give the belts to Omos and AJ Styles. I can't figure out what storyline they would run with to challenge for the belts if they did, and New Day have only had the belts for a few weeks at this point, like a month and a half or give or take.
Maybe they break AJ and Omas up. Maybe AJ goes to do the phenomenal forearm and he hits Omas, and then Omas gets mad and slams him or something. I mean,
and we get a singles run for Omas, and
of course, if you wanted to push a big new guy, you put him with literally arguably the single best talent that WWE has.
Right.
Damn, that makes a lot of sense.
And here's the thing. Omos, AJ wouldn't just take him. Like, the writers aren't going to go, hey, we're going to put him with AJ. Like, if AJ hadn't signed off on him being with him in that storyline, that wouldn't have happened. Now, talent doesn't get to make the decisions. AJ Styles is a different level of talent and does get to have some input there. So, in my opinion, he's probably thinking that Omos can carry matches, and he's probably going to say, I want to work with that guy, and he wants to put him over. I don't think AJ's getting to the end of his career, but I don't think AJ has that many years left, and I think AJ wants to start working up some talent that he finds to be entertaining and good to work with, and I think he's going to start... I think AJ starts switching his WrestleMania matches to being against guys that are veterans, because there are so many veterans like Triple H that want to have their career-ending matches against AJ Styles. I think they could build AJ Styles up on a run of WrestleMania retirement matches where AJ Styles retires everybody, because all the stars want to work with him, and all the stars are fine going out on their back. And then AJ Styles, of course, would probably do the same for a number of people in the last few years that he has. So, I don't know. I'm going to say that New Day retains belts there. Okay. That's my pick. What's the next match on the card?
One that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
Cesaro and Rollins.
Ooh. I'm going to go first here on this pick. I think that we, as a whole, both agree that Cesaro is one of, if not the most underrated talent in the WWE.
Absolutely.
Okay? One of the strongest guys, one of the most entertaining guys.
Yeah, they say pound for pound, he is absolutely one of the strongest.
I believe that, 100%. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Cesaro finally gets his moment. I think that they have been talking about a push for a while. He's made a lot of strides in the locker room. I think Cesaro gets his moment. I think they push it. That's my thought process here. I think that Cesaro beats Rollins. Rollins goes off TV for a little while and comes back later on as a face, figuring out righting his wrongs, and faces Roman Reigns, who probably will be the title holder. Spoiler alert. Going into the latter of the year. So that's my pick. So I think it's going to be Cesaro.
Yeah, I can't disagree. It's
okay.
All the great wrestlers, especially the guys that have worked hard and they've done a ton for the business, and that's Cesaro.
Right.
They need a WrestleMania moment.
Right.
He's going to get his. He's going to pin Seth Rollins.
I think so. And I think it's going to be a good match because Seth Rollins puts on good matches with people. He has a innate ability to carry some matches. I think it's going to be a good match. Looking forward to that one. So we both pick Cesaro to win that match. What's the next match on the card?
So you have your last two, your big title matches. You have Sasha and Bianca for the women's title.
Yeah. And
I think that this is another one where we're definitely going to agree for different reasons,
sure.
But I'm definitely going Bianca. I mean, She is so talented. I mean, and they've been giving her the smaller pushes, like the stuff that she did at Royal Rumble, and the stuff she did at Survivor Series when the NXT had a team.
Yep.
You know, she's phenomenal. She
Right.
is just
I
a
agree.
great
Super
wrestler.
entertaining.
I don't think there's any way that she doesn't win and start to carry that belt.
Right. Right. And I think as a locker room talent, everybody seems to really like her. Her gimmick is she is the EST of WWE, the best, the most, talented, blah, blah, blah. So she is the EST of WWE. I agree. I think that Bianca Belair takes the title. My reasoning, I do think that everything you just said is accurate, but I think the reasoning and the timing is because I think Sasha's going to take some time off to film. She's been offered several acting roles, but more importantly, she's going to be filming Mandalorian Season 3 here in the very near future. I fully expect that Sasha going to leave television, and this is a good way to do it. Is Bayley on television right now?
No, that's the big thing they were talking about. And she even posted something. I read about that earlier today. Bayley's like, look, maybe I'll jump the guardrail. Maybe I'll get involved myself.
Right.
But yeah, she's not on the card.
I think that there is a chance that Sasha leaves and they bring Bayley back in a picture because she's been off TV for a little while. I could definitely see that being the case. So we both agree Bianca is going to become the new women's champion on SmackDown. Sasha going to leave TV, which makes me sad because I'm a big fan of Sasha Banks. I really enjoy watching her work. She's really good on the mic. She's really entertaining. But I'm also really looking forward to Mandalorian Season 3. So let's not stall that any longer than we have to, right? Okay, so let's get to the title picture.
Yep. So you have Lashley and Drew.
All right, I'm going to pick this one first. I think Drew McIntyre wins. I think Drew McIntyre wins because he should have had his WrestleMania moment last year in front of fans. He didn't get it. Drew McIntyre has built himself to carry the brand. I think that he is entertaining. The fans love him. He has built himself this ability to carry the moniker. And I think Vince loves him. I think that there is just too much there for Drew to gain for the company as well as himself. I think Lashley is... I get it. He's a big guy. I know a lot of people like Bobby Lashley. I've just never been a fan of Bobby Lashley. Just not a fan of his wrestling. I've just never been entertained by Bobby Lashley in the ring. I know that some of the stuff he did when he was in Impact and, kind of carrying that brand, he built his name there because he never really got a good push in WWE. But I'm just telling you right now, I don't think that they're going to let him carry the belt for a long time. I think they gave him a belt to tide it over, to build it up, so that Drew could have a big man match. I think Drew McIntyre is going to go in and have a short match with Bobby Lashley. I think it's 15, 20 minutes at most. I think Drew ends up putting a lot into that and carrying that match a lot, and I think he claymores Lashley a couple of times, putting Lashley over in the process to make him look good for potential future feuds as the big man. But I think that McIntyre takes that pretty easily.
I gotta agree with you. I agree for a different reason, but I see Drew coming out on top. So the whole storyline with Bobby Lashley and MVP and this Hurt Business, and they just broke them up out of nowhere.
Right.
It seems too coincidental to me.
Right.
So I have a feeling that someone's going to cost Bobby the match. Because that's an interesting storyline, and to me it doesn't feel done.
Right.
And we've talked about how this is kind of the season that, this is the ending of the season.
Right.
There are some storylines that continue on every once in a while.
Sure.
And this just seems like one. Like, I'm almost thinking that maybe MVP costs him that.
Right.
MVP sides with the two guys they just kicked out, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin.
Yep.
Maybe they bring in someone else, like we were talking about, like different debuts, stuff.
Right. And actually make that a true fact. Because Bobby Lashley tips the scale of that, right? But that was the one thing about the Hurt Business. It had to be focused around Bobby Lashley because he's the big bad, and they're selling him to be in a championship picture. Mm-hmm. You remove him, and then you make that faction a legitimate faction where they can play the numbers game. They can be. They don't need to be the strongest guy, but they can put on some entertaining stuff.
Yep.
I could definitely see like Apollo Crews joining them and doing some different stuff, which we'll get into that in a minute. But I agree with you. I think that there's no coincidence, especially as much flack as apparently the creative team caught from the members of the Hurt Business and other WWE superstars who were just like, why? Like that storyline was good, and you were able to do some stuff with that, and these guys were getting a push, and then all of a sudden they break it up. Apparently they didn't tell them they were breaking that up until the day of. And so none of those guys in that stable knew that they were getting broken up until that night. So I agree. I think there had to be some reason for it. But as you well know, it would not be the first time that WWE pushes some type of story and has no follow through with it. And that is one of the biggest complaints that big name superstars have is superstars are fine with doing things like that make them uncomfortable and, take them in or out of the limelight, as long as the plan to follow up to bring whatever the goal is to fruition actually has that follow up. And WWE creative is notorious for not having follow up and not pushing forward. And Vince McMahon is notorious for coming in and going, no, not tonight. And just scraping things that have been great things, but he just didn't like them, so he just takes them off.
Well, and it's terrible that it happens that way because, we've talked about it. These people are athletes. They are freak athletes on top of that. But they're also storytellers. And in being a storyteller, anytime they're doing this story or this character or this faction or whatever, it's like a play. They want a beginning, they want a middle, and they want an end.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll get a beginning, and then Vince goes, nope, it's done. Right. Or they'll get a beginning and a middle, which is even worse, and then there's no ending to it, and you're just like, what the heck?
And it's exactly the same way for us, the audience, because it's like going to a play, like Matt said, and sitting down, and you get to the intermission, and then they're like, all right, thanks for coming out, everybody, have a great night.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait a second, what?
What do you mean it's over?
Why did I sit through the first hour and a half? Like, I thought I was here to, what happens to these people? Like, we just had a climactic end to this, and there's nothing. And that's exactly what happens sometimes, unfortunately, and that's a real rough part of wrestling. You don't see that nearly as much in the indie circuit stuff and the lower end. They usually see all of their storylines to conclusion. It happens, but WWE is notorious for just completely losing storylines mid-card, and it's really unfortunate because usually it's some of the better storylines that they do that to. All right, so that covers night one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk night two. Okay, let's go through the predictions here. Night two.
So, night two, what I think is the opener, we kind of already touched on, Big E and Apollo.
Yep, I agree with that, 100%.
I'm thinking Big E. I'm pretty confident in that one. Apollo's great, but I don't know. That doesn't feel right to me.
I got to tell you, I'm going to disagree with you, but I think that's going to be a gimmicky match. I think it's a gimmicky match. I'm going to pick Apollo to win. I think they're trying to sell this bad character that they've put him in so hard that they're going to give him the belt to push it. And that is just the penultimate idea of WWE creative, is force it down their throats. Sometimes they get a real bad idea and they just force it on you to watch. I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, we watched Roman Reigns for 5 years.
We've watched Roman Reigns 5 years as a good guy when they refused to turn him heel because Vince liked him too much. I'm telling you right now, I think Apollo Crews wins that. I think they're going to let Big E bring himself and carry himself as a competitor without a belt, and bring him back into some other pictures. I just don't think I think Apollo Crews wins the belt and maybe takes the belt and forms the Hurt Business 2.0 with his faction. Nation of Domination feels there coming back with Apollo's new gimmick.
You could always have the Hurt Business or MVP or whatever cost Lashley on night one and then show up on night two and help Apollo win the belt. So that's a good point, but at least we got another one finally that we didn't agree on. Right.
So we're at 3 so far that we have not agreed on. So that's a good number. Okay.
You got Riddle and Sheamus.
Okay. Yeah, I think that has to be Sheamus that wins. That's my pick. Here's why. Riddle is so over with the dumbest gimmick on the planet, but it is a realistic gimmick. Bro. I love watching his stupid stuff because it's so stupid. Like, there's a part of me that has to wonder if that's just kind of him. And he sells it so well because you watch it and you're just like, yeah, that's totally how that guy is. Like, he's not even acting. Like, there's no acting there. He's actually just that way. I think that Sheamus takes the belt because I think they're going to let Sheamus carry a belt for a little while and sell him as a big name. There's no reason they would have had him feud with Drew right before WrestleMania and go through all of that and putting him potentially in the title picture if they weren't planning on trying to do something with Sheamus. I think they also want to give some humility to Riddle. I think it's time. He's been carrying that belt really well. He's kind of stolen some matches with that belt, you know. He did the Lashley fight. He did, you know, kind of navigating the Hurt Business with that whole group. I think that they have Riddle probably pull back. More importantly, I think that he drops the belt, and if Dunn does come up to the main roster, they may put that tag team back together and have them do a tag team run for some belts, because that is a really entertaining. The Bruiserweights or the Broserweights or whatever they're called was a very good tag team. What were they called? Broadozers? Broserweights? Is it Broserweights?
Broserweights?
I think it's Broserweights.
Because they called Pete Dunne the Bruiserweight, and then
that's right. And Bro, yeah. I think that has potential. So Pete Dunne coming up, and then of course, you know, Riddle. So there's my pick. I think that Sheamus takes that belt.
I think Riddle keeps it.
Okay.
I think Riddle keeps it because, like you said, he's very entertaining.
Yeah.
He's super entertaining. So they need to keep him in something that keeps him on TV. His gimmick is dumb. He sells merch, which is super important side of this that we didn't talk about. If you sell merch, if people are buying your merch, you will be on TV every week.
That's true.
So I think they keep the belt on him so that he's on TV every week. It's so simple. He comes out there, bruh, and he kicks his flip-flops off, and he does his thing.
He used to be an MMA fighter, everybody. So he has... For everything that he is, he's actually a tough guy, but he looks real dumb on camera.
He tried to fight Goldberg in real life.
He did. And he has a history of apparently being kind of difficult in the locker room. Like, doesn't really show respect to a lot of the wrestlers. And I think some of that comes from the MMA background. Like, when you have actually, for real, taken punches in a ring, I'm sure there's a part of you that when you're doing this that you want to have just a little bit of respect. Like, hey, bro, I've taken these punches for real, not fake. So... when we're talking about this, like, hey, you know, just let's be equal level to talk. I think that guys in the locker room don't always see it that way, and he probably ruffles some feathers. Okay, so we picked another one different. Okay, so that's good.
We have another title match for tag team belts.
Yes.
So you have Ziggler and Rude versus Street Profits.
Right.
There is no way the Street Profits don't win. I would bet my car on it. There is no way. They are getting that WrestleMania moment.
Rumor has it that they want Belair to come out and all three of them be wearing belts. Like them come out with... and Montez Ford and Bianca Belair married in real life. So, for backstory there. The Street Profits are one of the most entertaining things going in wrestling. Those guys have amazing mic skills. They have all the way around. I think it's wonderful. Here's what I'm worried is going to happen. Now, I think they're going to win. What I'm worried is going to happen is that's going to be the match where they do the big shock, where WWE Creative throws a curveball and really hates their wrestling fans. And I think that they have them break up. They've done it before where they've taken a mainstream, super popular something and just gone, oh, we're going to split you up. Think of Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery was actually becoming super popular, and they were on a run. And then they're just like, oh, nope, we're going to have them turn. Like,
I hope not, man, because like you said, the Street Profits are so entertaining. When they did that stuff with Eric and Ivar, and we know Eric personally, and that was... I watched Raw every week to see those guys.
Right.
Their little backstage things, like the competitions and stuff, it's so good.
I agree.
And yeah, if they break them up, that would be a typical bonehead move by WWE.
And I'm sad. Let's take a moment. Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. We watched Eric and Ivar, then War Machine, Hanson and Rowe. We watched them wrestle on the indie scene a lot. In fact, carried belts here on our local scene, VIP wrestling. And Rowe, most people don't know, he's half robot, legitimately, because he was in a terrible accident.
Motorcycle accident.
They thought his career was over, and he had to have, a bunch of steel plates put in his arm and stuff. So there's even a DVD about his comeback to wrestling. He's a really nice guy. You know, I've talked to him a lot. I own his DVD for sure. I was gonna wear his shirt tonight, but I didn't switch into a shirt. I actually have one of his shirts. He's very straight edge. You know, doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs. Very straight edge. Very entertaining guy. He's very stiff in the ring apparently, but watching him and Hanson, they are very very agile big guys. And they do a lot of really crazy stuff. So the reason I'm digressing, you know, Hanson got hurt, had a terrible shoulder injury, and had to have a bunch of surgery to get all that repaired, and has been out for a while. I haven't looked to see where he's at in coming back, but I really hope that in the very near future that we get Viking Raiders coming back.
I'm sure we will, and it was perfect timing because Eric Ray and Sarah Logan,
Yep.
They're married in real life.
Yep.
She just had a baby.
Right.
So they had their first kid. Congratulations. And,
right.
You know, it's kind of perfect timing that they can go off and do that right now.
Right.
Hanson, Ivar can get healed up, and then
right.
bring them back.
Absolutely. So looking forward to them coming back. I would definitely say, as a whole, though, that Street Profits, I think, are going to win. I'm hoping they stay together, but I'm worried that they might get the breakup nonsense from WWE Creative.
I'm kind of upset that you even put that into the universe. Like,
I agree. I
really don't want that to happen.
It's hurting me a little bit to say it out loud, but I'm worried that they would do that. They've done it before. Creative has done it before. Mostly, they do that when one member of a tag team shows tremendous potential as an individual wrestler. One of the things that very seldom happens is a tag team is brought on to be a tag team for the rest of their careers. A lot of times tag teams are formed to sell each individual person and build them up together because maybe neither one of them are strong enough to carry their characters on their own. They build it together. But almost always, 9 times out of 10, at some point, that tag team breaks up to make them stand on their own on singles competition. There have been very few tag teams in history that have managed to go on their longest runs and stay a tag team. And almost all of even those have feuded against each other at some point in time. You know, the Hardy Boys, they had feuds at a couple of different points against each other. Edge and Christian, they had a feud at one point in time for a short run. You know, all these big names that made themselves as that, you know, they absolutely have these moments where they break up and go separate ways. And a lot of times, as much as we'd like to think that both members of that tag team can carry themselves and go on to be successful, usually one of them has a lot more potential than the other. And unfortunately, in enough times as well, neither member truly carries himself going forward. We see that with different tag teams, and I think that Montez Ford has so much potential as an individual performer. I think he will go on to do great things as an individual performer. I like Dawkins a lot. I just don't know that his character is something without Montez Ford. I think the Street Profits are Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins is kind of like the best supporting actor type of thing, right? And that, I think, becomes tough when you get into the point where they might break them up to push Montez Ford. That's what I'm worried about. So I digress. We could go on that for all night making some speculations. What's the next match?
You have The Fiend and Randy Orton.
Ooh, now this is going to be a good one. Okay. Tell me what you think.
Honestly, I have no clue. It is so hard to make a decision on that because we don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to be a filmed one? We've had a couple of these matches recently that were already pre-done, pre-filmed. Probably one of the most memorable ones was last year's WrestleMania.
Right.
Undertaker and AJ Styles. And because of COVID and everything, they were able to kind of sample this new way of presenting a match.
Right.
It was amazing. With what's going on with these two and adding Alexa Bliss to it, they could absolutely blow it out of the water with that. But I don't know.
Right.
Do they do that and have everybody that's in attendance watch on the Titantron? That would be interesting. And if they do, then it wouldn't be that long of a match.
Right.
So maybe they do an in-person match, and if they do, I just don't know where it goes.
Right.
I have no idea. I can't even pick one, honestly. I don't know.
I mean, I agree with you. This is probably the match that I'm looking forward to I'm not going to say the most, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is one of my top 3 matches for sure.
And I love the story that's been built up. I think the character development's been great. But I think we both agree, Randy Orton doesn't need to win the match, and it won't hurt him if he loses the match as far as character development. And more importantly, The Fiend is the same way. Like, that character has become what it is. It's a fan favorite character. And this is Zombie Fiend. They may walk him out there and him just be unbeatable. Zombie Fiend with Alexa Bliss doing crazy type of supernatural things. And, him just sit there and no-sell maneuvers. That could be a case. For the people out there that don't know, no-selling means that you take a punch and you act like it doesn't hurt. Or you get kicked or you get power bombed or whatever, and you just sell it as though you weren't injured, and it didn't affect you. That's called no-selling. And then there is selling a maneuver, which is obviously you get punched, you sell it, oh, I got punched, or oh, I got kicked. And then there's overselling a maneuver, which is kind of the third category, and that is you get punched and you like flop on the ring and you like fall around and you're like, oh my god, it knocked my teeth out, and and it was literally like a little slap or something.
Yeah,
so
one of the most common times you see that is when someone does their like actual finishing maneuver,
right,
and the other guy gets right back up, and you're like, what the heck? I mean, it has its purpose, because then we as wrestling fans know it's like, oh my gosh, this dude is
right.
You're not going to beat him,
right? And I think that might be where we are with the Fiend. They've been playing the head games. Randy Orton probably goes in there. I think that the Fiend wins. It's his first match back after a long hiatus. I'm going to go with the Fiend on that. It's a hard one to pick though. Like, it could go either way, but I'm gonna stake my bets on the Fiend.
It's so difficult for me. I don't know. Like, is Randy Orton getting towards the end of his career? Yes. Do they let him get another WrestleMania win? Possibly. Or do you continue this Fiend and Alexa Bliss character, which has so much steam behind it?
I agree.
But then, as you just touched, neither one of them has to win. Like, they're still big regardless. I would probably go the Fiend too, just because the Alexa Bliss thing it's so big.
I think it's so over, and honestly, I think that there's a chance that the Fiend makes his way back into a title picture soon, and Randy Orton gets a break off TV.
Sure.
Randy Orton has a few kids. He's probably due for it. He's been carrying the brand for a little while with his feud with Drew. He's really not been off TV very much. I think that's probably the way they go. Is Fiend wins, Randy takes some time off TV. So I'm going Fiend. So are you going to think Fiend too? Okay, so we're both taking the Fiend. All right, now for some matches that I'm really looking forward to and some matches that I'm really not looking forward to. Hit it.
So the match that I know we're both looking forward to, non-title match between two guys that arguably should literally burn the house down.
Yes.
And that's Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
Right.
So we've talked about indies a ton. So there was a smaller company that does wrestling called Ring of Honor. And they are one that, that's where a lot of these big names now. Seth Rollins came from there. CM Punk came from there. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. There's Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Right.
Kevin Owens wrestled Sami Zayn there. They were under different names, but they had arguably one of the best feuds of like the middle 2000s.
Right.
Every match they had, like, I'm getting chills just thinking about like some of the matches that we
Very
watched.
good. Yep.
They did one called Ladder Warfare, and it was like 20-foot tall ladders, and it was probably one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen.
Yes.
So we've only seen very, very few matches of them wrestling each other in WWE.
Right.
And right now, both the characters are kind of they were kind of in a stagnant spot before this. Right. They're lucky enough to be appreciated and praised backstage, and so I think WWE's like, you guys go out there and do your thing. And I bet you they just burn the house down.
I agree. I think that could potentially be one of the best matches of the entire weekend. Watch that match. They have a long history of friendship and chemistry outside the ring.
Yep.
They've wrestled each other many times over the years in the indie circuits, a little bit in WWE. They've definitely had a couple of feuds in the WWE, but it's been a while. This is their first time wrestling WrestleMania in a one-on-one match like this. I think that match has potential to be what steals the show. Matt is right. My prediction, Kevin Owens.
Cool. I'm going Sami Zayn.
There you go. Okay. I think Kevin Owens wins it because I think they're going to push Kevin Owens into a more important role. I also think that they're probably going to try to do something with Sami Zayn, but I think losing is what pushes him into that kind of fanatical thing. Why are you going Sami Zayn?
I think he needs to push more. I think Kevin Owens is the bigger star. I think that he had a good program with Roman earlier in the year.
Yep.
I don't think Sami's really done anything. He was the Intercontinental. No, he wasn't. And, I think that he needs the win better for a push coming out of there. So that's why I'm going with that.
And I could see that. And when you say it that way, it makes me sad I chose Kevin. But I'm going to go with Kevin. I'm going to stick to my guns here and say that. Next match on the card.
So you have your two big title matches.
Yes.
So we have Asuka and Rhea Ripley.
The one that I'm looking forward to.
Dude, that was the one that we were talking earlier, that no development of any story at all. She showed up 2 weeks ago and was like,
I want it.
I want it.
I'm taking
ready
that.
to fight you. It's like, wait, what?
Right.
Arguably two of my favorite women's wrestlers right now.
Right. I agree with that.
I'm going Rhea Ripley, like 100%.
So I agree with you. I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. Here's the thing. For those of you that don't know, Rhea Ripley was on main card for a long time. She had some issues at the beginning of COVID with passport issues, and they kind of she had issues with her visa, and she was off TV for a while. They took her off a story. When they brought her back to NXT, where she apparently just kind of, dominated again to build her character back up, because she wasn't on the main roster very long, and she'd only had a few dominant matches. Rhea Ripley, I think, is a generational talent. I've been talking about it on our podcast a lot. I've been talking about it during the openings. Her rookie cards are right here in the 2020 sets. In my opinion, Rhea Ripley she's big. She's strong. She has all the qualities of being a bad, she's got all that, but she is attractive. She has the, kind of the ambiance
She's got a
build
different look. It's very Paige-esque.
Right, it is. And it's she just kind of has that whole package. Like, the character is all there, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that when you take all that into account, I think she gets to carry that belt. She had a really good program with Charlotte Flair, kind of in the beginning when she came to the main card. I think that with Asuka is going to be a really tremendous match.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley is very talented in the ring. Asuka is a lot of fun to watch and does some really crazy stuff. Asuka is not afraid to take a bump, and Rhea Ripley is not afraid to give one. So I think that this is going to be a good match to watch. I think it's going to be a good title picture, and I think Rhea takes it. I think Asuka has carried the brand since Becky relinquished the title. I think they need to give it a push. Asuka doesn't need a push. Asuka's sold. It sucks that she's going to lose the belt at WrestleMania. I hate to see that for her, but at the same time, I bet that they tear the house down with a really good title match, and I'm interested to see that. Rhea Ripley gets her push. She gets a WrestleMania moment, especially after the difficulties. She was probably going to take the title from Charlotte and do a bunch of stuff and run with that, and then for it to kind of have to end the way it did was unfortunate. So
I'm hoping she wins, and I'm hoping the very next night on Monday Night Raw that Charlotte comes back.
I can see that.
And she has to fight Charlotte Monday night, because then you could just have another just barn-burning match.
Right.
Or Io Shirai comes up and she's got to fight Io Shirai the next night.
That would be good too. There's some chemistry there. They've had a couple of good matches. So
or you have Asuka lose, so they could bring Io in and they could do the tag team like Asuka and Kairi Sane did, because that was great too. It worked. So
Kairi Sane, you could tell Kairi Sane's heart wasn't in it at the end before she retired. For those who don't know, Kairi Sane, her husband was in Japan. She's been on the main roster in WWE for several years. She was in NXT. I think it was 5 years that she came over and worked WWE from NXT to main roster. But her husband lived in Japan and she was in America, and it was very, very difficult, obviously. And they did that for years. And finally, Kairi Sane was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna call it. I'm ready to go home and spend time with my husband and do my thing. Not necessarily saying she's retiring from wrestling, but she's going on hiatus, and so she left the WWE when her contract expired. But that was a really, really good gimmick that they had. The problem is, Kairi was a very, very good wrestler, very talented, a lot of fun to watch. But her last year in the business, you could tell she botched a lot of spots. She had a lot of missed cues. There were just a lot of issues in the matches, and I think that you could see that she was kind of ready. She was no, I'm not going to say phoning it in. I don't think most of those wrestlers, I just don't think on the main card would phone it in. It happens, but it's rare. I don't think she would do that. I think that she just had her mind in other places. So, in my opinion, that's what happened. So I agree. I think that we could see that. But I think that Rhea takes the belt. I think that immediately you have an introduction of Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey on Monday Night Raw after to begin that card. One of them's coming back. That's my main big prediction, my bold prediction. And I think that Rhea takes the belt. Asuka goes off TV for a while to take a break because she's well earned it. And I think that they bring in either Becky or Ronda to go into a match like that. That would be a really good one for Becky to come into. I would love to see Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley. That would be really entertaining on the mic, and I think that would be really entertaining in the ring too. So we both agree Rhea Ripley's going to win that match. Last match to pick, man, and the hard one. It's a hard one to pick.
So Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge, triple threat. That one for me is weird because you and I both know every fan would love to see Edge win.
Right.
I don't know that he's committed to a full-time schedule of being the champion.
Right.
And I don't think, no offense to Edge, he doesn't hold the star power that Brock Lesnar does to be able to hold a belt and not be on TV every week.
Right.
I think that he has a really good match. I don't think that Edge gets pinned. I don't think that he loses.
Right.
Daniel Bryan and Roman, I would love to say, going out on a limb, I think Daniel Bryan gets it, man. I think they give him the title and he gets one more run. We can get the yes chant back now that we have a crowd again. And, he can kind of ride off into the sunset because, like you mentioned, he's kind of already got one foot out the door.
Right.
Is that logical? Absolutely not. Do I want to wash your car? No. So I'm definitely going Roman Reigns.
So it's funny you say that. So just to make sure everybody is aware, we did have a bet going here. We picked all the card for WrestleMania here, and the person who picks the most matches correctly wins, and the loser has to wash the other one's Corvette. So that is the bet, and we will stream it. We'll film it for everybody to watch and comment on. It'll be a lot of fun. So when Matt washes my car, it'll be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. That being said, I'm not looking forward to this match. I think this match is way oversold. I'm really stoked to see Edge in a match. I wanted to see him versus Roman. I was stoked to see that. Adding Daniel Bryan waters it down for me. I enjoy Daniel Bryan's energy. I'm not always a huge fan of him in the ring. It's been hit or miss for me. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to this match at all. I think Roman is boring. I've always thought Roman Reigns was super boring in the ring. I think that he's been against people that have carried him. Hey, Howard, welcome in. Welcome in. You've only missed about an hour and 40 minutes of us doing stuff. We did all our picks, but that's okay. You'll be able to go back and rewatch our picks. But we're about to open some really good product here in just a second, so you haven't missed the really fun stuff. I think that Roman is boring to watch. I think Daniel Bryan is not going to swan song. I think that Daniel Bryan will have his feud against somebody and go out on his back. But here's the thing. You're right. Edge is not going to carry the belt. Not this way. I am convinced that Roman is going to carry the belt longer. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be boring. I think that Brock Lesnar is going to come back in the near future, and I think we get Roman Brock again. And I think Brock is who takes that belt from him so that they can move that storyline away. But the question becomes, the way I think about it, what do they do with Roman Reigns without a belt? Because his head of the table skit falls apart.
Yeah, you can't be head of the table without
Can't be head of the table without the belt. The belt legitimizes that, right? That's the big deal. So in my opinion, Roman keeps the belt. That's the way they go. I don't think there's any way around that, which is unfortunate. Once again, I think Creative did a real bad job writing that triple threat match and how they've kind of thrown that together. I think it's too predictable. But honestly, that match, we could both be wrong, and that absolutely could be the most entertaining part of it. That we're both
there's
wrong.
nothing to stop them from giving Edge the belt, right, and then Friday on SmackDown he loses it to somebody.
Correct.
I mean, that quick. Adam Cole could show up, and boom,
take the
now
belt.
Adam Cole has a belt.
I mean, we watched that. Miz won the belt with the Money in the Bank and lost it the next night.
this
with
is going,
Drew.
This is going way back, but Paige debuted
right
Raw after WrestleMania and
won her debut match.
beat her and
Divas
took the title.
Yep, it can happen. It can happen. Howard says he thinks Brock shows up and
Wins the title.
for winning the title on Sunday. I mean, I don't know how that happens, but I definitely think that Brock shows up and maybe could do something about it and be entry into the picture. You know, maybe he almost costs Roman the match.
Hey, if we're going that crazy, then maybe they make it a fatal 4-way and CM Punk finally comes back.
Oh, you could hope. You could hope. Matt's a big CM Punk fan. He likes CM Punk. All right, so there you go. There's our predictions. We were pretty much across the board. We agreed except for on, 5 matches there?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
5 matches that we disagreed on. Loser has to wash the other one's Corvette, and we'll put it here for everybody to watch. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Howard, that could happen, but no Money in the Bank this year. Miz cashed that in, took the belt, and lost it the next night. That's how they got it off Drew to build into a storyline for Drew McIntyre to get his winning moment at WrestleMania this year, which we both agree. We think Drew wins the belt this year. So, all right, we've kind of done a lot of talking for a little while here. I want to open this product. So, Matt, I'm going to open up this blaster, and we're going to alternate opening packs. There's quite a few packs in here. Okay. All right. So, let's see what we get. This is the women's division. This is the 2019. These blasters shot way up in price. They're guaranteed a hit. So, we're going to crack this open and see if we get some straight fire.
Straight fire.
This is going to be better than watching one of us wash the other's car, but not by much.
I know. Do you have good knees? Because I'm going to need you to get all the way down into the wheel and get,
And here I was going to buy you some knee pads for that. All right, so here we go. On the box, this has quite a few packs in it, but we get our bonus pack. This is the one-hit card inside. Unfortunately, it feels like it's probably a memorabilia card, but it could be an RPA. But this is our hit, so let's get this box here. I'm gonna keep it up so people can see what it is. Man, these boxes are kind of built weird, but so this is what we're opening right there. I'm gonna put this right here as the bonus pack. All right, Matt, I'll let you open first.
Okay.
Pack number 1 right there. Open that up. Let's see. I hope so, Craze. I hope so.
All right. Whoosh. Io Shirai.
Yeah, hold it up just a little bit. There you go.
My bad.
Oh, that's fine. Matt's not used to doing the card breaks on camera. Can you tell?
Hey, there's our friend.
Yep, there we go. Ember Moon. There's first card for Jessamine Duke.
That is Roderick Strong's wife.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Sonya Deville, who's moving into a development role.
Carmella.
Women's Evolution cards. Subset.
And Alita.
Okay. I was a big fan of Lita as a kid.
I think most of us were.
Yeah, everybody was. Here we go. All right, I'm doing pack number 2 here. Let's see what we get. Looking for some rookies out of this. There's Renee Paquette. Renee Young, no longer in the WWE. Real life married to John Moxley. There's Lacey Evans. Rookie card for Lacey Evans in this, by the way, for 2019. But she is off TV. She just announced pregnancy. There's Dakota Kai. There's Asuka winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match, as she should have. There is Kairi Sane. The Iconics. So much for that. There's Trish Stratus and Mickie James battling at WrestleMania 22. That's a WrestleMania moment. That's a good one to have. All right, take the next pack. Let's get it.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely, Howard. I could definitely see that, man.
We got a Ronda.
Ronda Rousey.
And a Steph.
Steph McMahon.
There's another Ember Moon. Against Shayna Baszler.
A few of those in there, yep.
There's Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler. First time I opened this product, I pulled a Shayna autograph out of 99.
Evolution. And Alita moment.
Alita moment. I think it's Alita WrestleMania moment, right? At Trish Stratus, maybe? Oh, no. She helped the Hardy Boys against Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus was a valet for a long time before she got in the ring. All right. We're going to go through these packs pretty quick because there's not a whole lot other than some rookie cards that we're looking for in here. So there is Carmella winning Money in the Bank. Toni Storm. This is her first card, so this is a true rookie. Topps does first card here. That denotes this is the first time that she's had a card. That is basically the penultimate rookie for Topps. So her rookie year will have rookie monikers, but the first actual printings of her card, the true rookies, will have first card on it. So, hey, Fungus, welcome, welcome. Yes, NXT was phenomenal, Howard. You need to watch it. Watch both nights. The tag team triple threat match was really, really good. Shotzi and Ember Moon, pretty good. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly destroyed the house. So, very, very good. Toni Storm, first card. So, I like that. That one's going to my PC probably. Asuka defeating Sasha Banks. There's an Alexa Bliss. Little Miss Bliss. There's the man, Becky Lynch. There's Aaliyah. We were talking about her earlier. We don't understand. She's been in NXT for 20 years, I think. And Lita wins the Women's Championship at the Raw main event. Titles don't change hands on weekly television too often, but that's changed a lot in recent times.
All right.
And just so everybody knows, this is Matt's first time opening cards. He's done Magic cards, but he's never opened trading cards like this before, and he's a massive wrestling fan, so we're having a lot of fun with him opening his first wrestling packs. Christian came back to wrestling, Fungus. He's in a different promotion, not in WWE, but Christian back into wrestling.
Oh, debut.
Trish Stratus debut. As a valet, I think. Right? She came in with Test and... who else did she come in with? Test and who? Oh, sorry.
Whoever Test was wrestling with at the time, and I can't even remember.
Most people don't even remember who Test was. But he married Stephanie McMahon.
Didn't he die in real life?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Oh, no, he was going to marry Steph, and then Triple H married her.
Hey!
There we go. Yim. With Keith Lee in real life, right?
Yeah,
They're actually
they're
together
engaged.
in real life? Yeah, engaged to Keith Lee, who, by the way, both Matt and I are massive fans. Matt is a good friend of Keith's. So, obviously, we're wishing Keith well and looking forward to having him back on TV. Right, Albert. Heiberg, thank you for the save there. Absolutely. Heiberg coming in. Test and Albert. Trish was the valet for Test and Albert. Absolutely.
Yeah, Test did pass away.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. So Mia Yim, I actually really like Mia Yim. I'm glad they kind of split up that whole like faction thing.
Retribution.
Yeah, they were copying AEW hard there, so kind of glad they got rid of that. First card, Stacey Catanzaro. She is with who is her real life? She's
Ricochet.
Is it Ricochet? Yeah.
She was American Ninja Warrior.
Yes. And this is her first card. So any of the first cards, I like keeping those. There's Chelsea Green.
She's come back.
Yep, I hear she's coming back soon. She is with
she's married
to Zack Ryder. I don't know why I watch all his action figure stuff on Instagram, so you would think I could know that. And there's a Nikki Cross rookie. I'm a big fan of Nikki Cross. I like her a lot. So looking forward to her making her return in the near future. There's Nia Jax. I don't think either one of us are fans of Nia Jax. And there's Bayley. I like Bayley as a heel a lot better, so looking forward to her coming back in the near future. And Lita getting inducted into the Hall of Fame for a WrestleMania moment. Pretty sweet.
Okay.
We got a whole box of Topps Finest there. There's 2 autographs in that box. That's the high-end box, so looking forward to opening that one.
Vanessa Bourne.
Yep.
Nikki Cross. Ronda.
Naomi.
Asuka and Alexa. Who's that? Oh, Mandy Rose.
That's the evolution moment, yeah.
And then Trish Stratus, inducted into the Hall
of Fame. We got Lita in the Hall of Fame and then Trish in the Hall of Fame. Back to back there. That's nice. Just a few more packs to go and we'll hit a hit here. Matt Cardona, always ready. That's right, Howard. Watch his action figure stuff. There is Beth Phoenix, married to Edge, has some kids there. Ronda Rousey in whatever. I hated this face paint thing she did. I hated that. It was
I didn't
terrible.
like any of her ring gear that she ever had.
You also didn't like her in the ring either. So
I don't like her.
yeah, I'm not a fan of Ronda either. Natalia, there's Mickey James there, who rumor has it she might try to come back, but I guess she's technically retired now. There's Tamina. There is Selena Vega.
Oh, no longer.
Looking for her to join AEW in the near future.
Yep.
I fully expect that.
Trinidad.
Yep, and her YouTube stuff, all her gaming stuff is really entertaining. She does a bunch of cosplay. Super nerd. Her and Aleister Black play Magic the Gathering all the time. So it's a lot of fun. If you watch their YouTube series, you can watch them play Magic against each other. Trish Stratus wins the Hardcore Championship. That's legit.
Okay, last pack for me. I got one more after me.
Who's overrated, Howard? Which one? Ronda? Yeah, I agree.
Lacey Lane. A Miss Elizabeth card. That's cool.
Yep.
Ronda.
Move over that way. There you go. Perfect.
More moments. Oh, it's kind of cool.
Nice. Women's Evolution moments. Those are the insert sets in this one.
Trish Stratus retirement match.
Yeah. All right, here's our last base pack, and then we'll get on to our hit, which I believe is going to be a memorabilia card, but hopefully it'll be an autograph. I definitely have pulled a Shayna Baszler autograph out of these before. There's Sherry Martel, Zia Lee. This is her first card. Yeah.
She's got a new gimmick going on that's crazy. She's the scary one on NXT right now.
Yes, I saw that. Shayna Baszler. This is Shayna's. Is that Shayna's? No, that's not Shayna's rookie card. There's a Io Shirai's first card. That's part of what I like in this set because I think Io Shirai is about to go ham. I think that's going to be a big card. There's Mandy Rose, Ruby Riott, and there is Lita competing in the first women's cage match. Old school. Matt, I'll let you do the honors of our first hit here, man. If you want to open that up. It's a one-card pack. Let's see what we get. Come on, autograph. What do we got?
Congratulations. You now own an authentic WWE Evolution event-used matte relic.
Becky Lynch out of 25.
Becky Lynch.
Nice.
Very nice.
It'll be there in the camera so everybody can see.
Very cool.
Sweet. I mean, the matte cards are not really sought after a lot, but it is Becky Lynch, and it is out of 25. 9 out of 25.
Very cool.
Pretty sweet hit there. I like that. Becky Lynch, the man. All about that. It's pretty sweet. All right. That's not a bad hit at all. I like that a lot. I'm sure that somebody will want the Becky Lynch matte card. I'm sure that will go into somebody's PC. All right. Let's get right into it because we got a lot of stuff to open here. But we're going to get into Chrome, and we're going to talk a little bit while we do it because we have run a long time in this, and obviously we want to get to the box. Yes, Howard, we do need some AEW cards, and they're coming. I forget. I think Leaf is who signed the contract with AEW, so I fully expect that to be something that we see out of them in the near future. I just don't know when. But AEW, now that they're going to be on their own night and not competing with NXT, I fully expect that to be somewhat of a big deal for their branding as a whole. And I think that that's going to give them a push because the WWE audience will now have the option to watch both NXT and AEW, and that'll be a good thing. So
that's a weird move for WWE still. I think.
I think it's a weird move for them to give way to the competition. That's not Vince's style. So
very, very strange.
All right, Matt, I'm going to make you put on gloves for this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So
the expensive stuff.
This is it's mirror finish stuff. That's the big key here, and it gets fingerprints on the cards really easily. So I'm going to make Matt put on the serial killer gloves here. So we can have some fun with this. Meanwhile, I'm going to crack this open. So this here is going to be Topps Finest, okay? Now, we opened Topps Chrome on Wednesday night. If you want to see my box break, got a cool AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre were my two autographs out of that. Topps Finest here comes with 2 inner boxes. Each one of these contains one autograph. Okay, they're mini boxes. There are 6 packs in each. There are 5 chrome cards in each. There are subsets. It has the Stone Cold Steve Austin die cut set, and the cards are die cut in the shape of a skull. And then there are quite a few additional subsets in here as well that we're looking for. Now, don't forget, everybody, we have our contest live right now on our Instagram. If you go to our Instagram, you'll see the WrestleMania contest. All you have to do is like us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and then tag a friend in the comments of that Instagram post. You could win a complete base set of Topps Finest, cards 1 through 100, and you could potentially win a complete base set of Topps Chrome, cards 1 through 100. While they're not worth a lot of money, they're definitely worth a few bucks, and you could get them free. We'll ship them to you. It's a lot of fun, and it's easy to do, free to play. We'll announce the winners tomorrow morning. We'll show who is the winner. So you've got until 9 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow to enter. Go do that as soon as we're off the air here. Like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, tag some friends so they see the post. Get a lot of entries. See if you can't win some cards here, okay? All right, so we're going to crack this main box open. This is a master box here. We're going to pull out these. Now, we're going to do a little battle here because Matt's competitive. Matt likes to compete at everything he does. I've known him for many years here. So this hobby box has these 2 inner cartons, as we'll call it, mini boxes that we're going to have here. Now, Matt, you have a choice. There are 2 here. Do you want the top or the bottom as your one?
I'll take the top.
You're going to take the top. All right. Matt gets this one. I'm taking this one. Here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to open these at the same time, and we're going to pack battle, okay? And we're going to kind of go through and see who has the best pack and compare them one for one, all 6 packs, okay?
Okay.
Obviously, if we don't pull the autographs at the same time, that's going to be kind of bad because the autograph's probably going to win the packs, but you never know. Yes, so much wrestling. So much wrestling. Yes, Chris says yes, you are competitive at everything you do. Chris knows you. It's like he's met you before.
Like we're friends. Like he knows me.
Like he knows you. All right, so let's open these up. So we got 6 packs in the inner boxes. We're going to pull those out right here and set them in front of us. Set the boxes right back here. All right, so here we go. All right, so we got our 6 packs. Put them right here. Okay, so we're going to open at the same time here. Let's open it. A lot of movement, the camera tricking out on that. All right, keep them face down here. Let's start. Let's flip them over from the bottom first. Here we go. Flip it over. And it's going to be Damian Priest rookie card.
I have a Miz card.
You can see it. It's almost like it's written in blue on there. Hard to see. So I got Damian Priest rookie. That's good for me, winning so far. And I've got an insert for my next one. I got Diesel.
I got Dakota Kai.
I got Finest Returns Diesel. Is that a refractor? Look on the back. Is that a refractor? I don't think so. Nope, not a refractor. All right, so I got an insert and a rookie in mine. That's pretty good. Ooh, looks like you got a insert as well. So you got Finest Tag Teams of a tag team that's no longer together, and I got a Ria Ripley rookie card.
God dang.
And more importantly, mine's a refractor. Ria Ripley refractor. That's a few bucks. I'll take it. Pretty stoked about that one. Can you hand me one of those top loaders that's right there? Thank you. Ria Ripley rookie refractor worth a few dollars. There's our first somewhat hit. Because her stuff is going to be worth some money. All right, I'm winning this pack short of an autograph. All right, let's see where we're at. Zelina Vega.
And I got a heavy machinery.
And Tucker.
Tucker.
We'll call it a wash because Tucker is probably not getting any TV time and Zelina Vega's not even there anymore. Ooh, now that's a hard one, but I think Liv Morgan definitely takes it pretty easily. Liv Morgan is definitely the better of the two. All right. What do you think, everybody? Give us your thoughts. Who do you think won that pack battle? I think I've got to take it, right? Rhea Ripley rookie and a Damian Priest rookie.
Yep, you got it.
And that Rhea Ripley being a refractor. Okay. All right, interesting. So now we're going to do it a little different. We did that one at the same time. We're going to do these one at a time. So you'll open and show the pack, and then I'll open and show my pack, and we'll go from there. Here we go. Matt's pack here. This is pack number 2. We each have 6.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Kyle O'Reilly. All right.
I like it.
Could get a good call up there. Oh.
Tegan Knox.
Oh.
Rookie.
More importantly, what comes behind that?
Oh, this one? Oh, The Undertaker returns.
But more importantly, that is Undertaker returns gold out of 50. Boom. That is a big pull. Undertaker stuff worth a small fortune. Gold out of 50 Undertaker. That is wonderful. I love seeing that. It is the insert. The inserts in color are already somewhat difficult to pull. Getting the Undertaker gold, that is money. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. That's going in my personal collection. Glad I made you wear gloves.
Becky. Oh, and we got an Elias. I kind of like that one.
It's super sweet. And you got the Elias? Yep.
Yeah, I like that one.
No refractor there, just the color card, so that's pretty good. Thank you. Get this Undertaker gold out of 50. That's good, man. I'm so glad we opened this. Oh, take that top loader back. It's wrong size top loader. Got to find the right size top loader. I forget finest cards are thicker. Maybe I have one, maybe I don't. I think this one is the thicker. Oh, all right. Well, it's going to have to sit outside because all of my top loaders right now are the smaller size, and I don't force cards into top loaders, so let's just be careful with that one. Pretty sweet. Undertaker, gold out of 50. I like that. That's sweet. Okay.
Good luck following that one
up. Man, I got to hit an auto to even have a chance, I think.
That's because you beat me with the Ria Ripley rookie already. So.
I did, so I'm winning. Oh, there's definitely color in here.
Uh-oh.
So I have a blue numbered something. So Shotzi Blackheart
rookie card, yeah.
I'm all about that. I'm a big fan of Shotzi Blackheart rookies. Oh, this is The Fiend, numbered 150 out of 150. That a bookend. Look at that, blue 150 out of 150. The Fiend. Well, talk about some WrestleMania pulls. Undertaker with the WrestleMania streak, and now The Fiend wrestling at WrestleMania. Sweet. That's not getting the gold taker at 50, though. We're way behind that. Rookie for Angel Garza. There is Lana. And there is Seth Rollins. Oh, man, of course my numbered card would come at a time where it's up against you with a taker out of 50. So I got to give it to you, man. You definitely won that. I didn't get there, but the Fiend 150 out of 150 bookend is pretty sweet. That's probably going to go in my PC too. Most importantly, I'm super stoked that getting some things for my PC here. That makes me super happy. The stuff that I've gotten previously were not things I was truly interested in other than the AJ Styles auto that I pulled. So pretty stoked about this. All right, let's do it again. I'll start my pack first this time.
Okay.
So we are 1-1. All right. Now remember, we both have an autograph to pull. So there is Tony Storm, Braun Strowman, Braun, rookie for Riddick Moss. And there is finest tag teams, Hakim and Razor.
Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah, if we never have to see them again, that'd be okay.
I am, not a fan. We'll stick that there. And then there is Dolph Ziggler. Oh, man, rough one. Okay.
All right,
it's
buddy.
It's going to be a rough one for me. I don't know. I don't know if I got a chance in this pack. As you can see, Matt's learning how to deal with corners in packs.
Walter.
Just
watched him. Oh, I forgot.
Gable?
Yeah, Gable.
Ultimate Warrior finest return. Nice.
Very cool. Naomi and Xavier Woods.
Playing the trombone. I got to give it to you with the Ultimate Warrior insert. I didn't have an insert. I'm going to give that one to you. I think you won that one.
Okay.
So.
Well,
all right.
Start.
Let me show you something. When you open these, you're going to pull it back. And you're going to pull here, and then you're going to open all the way to the corner. And do it all the way down, and then open all the way to the corner, and then you're going to slide it out.
You guys are fancy.
That's just so he doesn't ding my corners if I want to send it to PSA in 12 years when they open back up. He's a rookie. I give him a break.
Well, there's the same Fiend that you pulled, just not
the base
numbered.
version of the Fiend.
A Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Io Shirai.
Io Shirai, yep.
A Finn Balor.
That's not even a rookie EO, unfortunately. I want a rookie EO.
And a Mia Yim.
Different years, though. Mia Yim. All right. Now I'm getting some hope. I'm getting some hope here because that pack was pretty basic. So, although you did get a Refractor EO. I think that's Refractor EO, right? Yep, Refractor EO. All right, here we go. We each have 2 packs after this one. Sugar Shane Helms auto. Old Hurricane. Old Hurricane. Ooh, I got an Adam Cole on the back. Let's see. Here we go. Ooh. I can't tell. Did I get money? I think I might have gotten some money. Let's see. All right, Montez Ford. We talked a lot about him earlier. Married to Bianca Belair in real life.
High flying.
There is Humberto Carrillo.
Rookie.
There is Nikki Cross. That is a refractor, I think. And there is Mojo Rawley, friends with Rob Gronkowski. And Adam Cole, baby. Man, that's a rough one. That was bad. We both got refractors in that pack.
We'll just call it a wash.
Let's call that a wash. Yeah, I mean that brings us down to an odd number anyway. So we're at 2 each, right, at this point. Mm-hmm. So here we go. We're due for autographs. We got autographs to hit here.
You know, that's how it's going to happen, is that you're going to pull an autograph this round, or I am, and the other one's going to pull it the other round, and we're going to be tied.
Absolutely. That very well could be it. Well, technically you're 2 and I'm 1, so right now it's 2-1 because we washed that last one. So, all right, we got Asuka.
Nobody's ready for Asuka.
Alexa Bliss. These are worth a few bucks. Oh,
what do you want me to play?
I don't want you to play anything, Alexa.
Yeah.
Oh.
What is it?
Shinsuke, finest debut. I was really excited because I thought it might be an autograph, but unfortunately not. Alexa, stop. That's what the trouble is with opening wrestling cards. You always run into Alexa doing crazy things. So we got Shinsuke, finest debut, and Kushida, rookie.
Kushida, rookie.
I dig that. And a Kaylee Ray, rookie, as well. All right, so my Shinsuke finest debut up against what? Let's see him. Yeah, hold on camera so they can see him. Oh, there you go. There you go. Open all the way to the corners and pull out. See, look at this. He's a natural pack opener. He's getting there.
We got a Randy Orton.
Yep.
Got a Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
A waist. Oh, what's this one? Decade's finest. The Miz.
The Miz.
2011. And a Tyler Breeze.
That's a cool Miz.
Yeah.
I dig that. The Decade's finest. That's actually, I think, one of the ones I might be missing from my set. I'm very close to a complete base set. Well, I have a complete base set, but all of the insert sets, a complete X-Fractor set and a complete Refractor set out of this. So, all right. So in theory, we both have an autograph here. So we're going to be 1 for 1 on autographs. It couldn't have panned out any better. I don't.
It's going to depend on whose autograph.
I think I'm going to give you the finest superstars on the Miz. So right there, that's going to put you up 3-1 on me for packs. But if my autograph is real good, we're going to do Wild and Out style, and I think that I could easily win the whole thing if my autograph just completely trumps yours. So hopefully we pull something out of color. We're going to be very careful with these packs. Very careful because the corners on these are a big deal. And if I pull Alexa Bliss gold or Sasha Banks gold, it's going to be some money. So here we go. I will open first because I want Matt to have the last laugh since he is new to opening cards. Here we go. Stop it, Heiberg. Stop it right now. I'm not pulling Jey Uso autos. I did that. I've pulled a couple of hits of the Usos, and I'm not about that life. All right, so we do apparently have an auto in here. All right, so Sheamus is card number 1. Rhea Ripley, rookie! Boom! There we go.
Dang.
That's what I'm talking about. I've been talking about it all week, wanting to pull Rhea Ripley, rookie. There we go. It's not numbered. That's okay, though. I will take it. That is definitely one of the ones that I wanted.
Well done.
This has been a great box so far for my personal collection. I'm glad that we're closing out WrestleMania week with me hitting some good hits for our WrestleMania extravaganza here. I like that. Again, I think she's generational talent. Autograph rookie card, pretty sweet.
That one could be really good, too.
Scarlett could be very good carrying Cross. I won't spoil it for Howard, but big match, and that's a rookie for her. It's pretty good. And there is Carmella and AJ Styles, which I pulled the autograph for the other night. So, man, Rhea Ripley, that is so sick. Super stoked about that.
I'm not happy to follow that one up.
I like it. Everybody's saying Aaron 1, Aaron 1. Yeah. That is awesome. I'm super happy about that. Super stoked, everybody.
All right, let's be real careful here.
Matt's going to open and see what he can do. Rhea Ripley rookie refractor and Rhea Ripley rookie autograph. My box is winning. All right, here we go. Matt getting his autograph. Going to flip it around here. Got Roman on the front.
Got a Roman.
Cameron Grimes rookie.
Cameron Grimes rookie.
And it's green auto R-Truth.
Numbered R-Truth.
It is. It's out of 99. Green.
40 out of 99 R-Truth.
Here's the thing. For me,
you love R-Truth.
R-Truth is one of my favorite people on the planet when it comes to wrestling. So this is wonderful. Now, he doesn't win this pack because R-Truth is not Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
it's not a Rhea Ripley autograph rookie card. But it is, personally, this box could not have been better for my personal collection. R-Truth, I actually almost bought an R-Truth autograph the other day because I'm such a massive fan of R-Truth. I have a long story that I've told on the podcast, but he was super nice at San Diego Comic-Con. I couldn't make it to his autograph signing when he was in TNA, and I was a huge fan of K-Quick back in the WWE days, and my boss and I held up some posters, and we wrote on the back, "Big fan R-Truth, unfortunately can't make autograph signing," and held it up across our booth because they were signing across the hall. And him and his wife were upstairs on top of their booth, the TNT booth at the time, and he saw us hold up this sign. And after his autograph signing, he didn't have to, but after his autograph signing, him and his wife walked over to our booth and met me, and they brought me an autographed 8x10 and spent like 10 minutes talking to me about being a big fan. I also met him at WrestleMania, this WrestleMania, specifically here in Dallas, back in 2016. I went by his autograph table and got to talk to him for a few minutes and told him how much I appreciated that. And anyway, super nice guy. You'd never believe it. He's like 52 years old. Legit. Still wrestles, although not as much as he used to, but 52 years old, still doing this. So pretty legit. I'm super stoked. It doesn't beat a Rhea Ripley rookie autograph, but I will tell you right now, for me personally, for my PC, I am all about it. These are on-card autographs. So we got Rhea Ripley rookie auto, and we got the R-Truth out of 99 auto. So I'm stoked about that. Obviously, we got the Fiend 150 out of 150. That's a big blue. I like that. It's the bookend, so that makes it a little bit better. And a rookie refractor for Rhea Ripley as well. But still, one of the stealing show factors is Undertaker Finest Return Gold out of 50. This is a big pull. Anything Undertaker in gold, 50 or less. In wrestling, you want 50 or less. That's really the numbers you're looking for. And in this one, that's a big hit, and I really dig this card. Super stoked about this. The only one that I would rather have is black out of 25 because it's an insane-looking card. But yes, I'm all about this. This is super cool. Man, this has been a good box to open. A lot of fun for my personal collection. So thanks, Matt, for indulging me, bringing your luck to the table, getting me good stuff for my PC. I'm all about that. Might have even completed my refractor set out of this. I don't know. So been fun with that. So I'm going to leave these out here for a minute while we finish up. We've got one more thing to quickly discuss before we're done for the night, and that is going to be talking about the Raw after WrestleMania. Okay, now we're going to shorten our segment. We're not even going to open this pack. We have a Raw pack over here, but honestly, there's nothing good in that set, and the autograph stuff is hard to pull, so we're not going to mess with that. But we're going to talk Raw after WrestleMania. We're going to talk who we think debuts from NXT a little bit more, and we're going to talk about who we think shows up to be the big surprise guest on Raw after WrestleMania. All right, Matt. You tell me one, then I'll tell you one, and then you can tell me one, and then I'll tell you one, and we'll go back and forth until we run out. All right? Hit me with your first.
Adam Cole.
Okay. Yep. We both agree with Adam Cole. Adam Cole going to make a big splash. We even think that he could make a splash at winning a belt on his first night debut. He's that good. He's definitely moving up. Mine is Io Shirai. I think it's almost certain that she's moving up based on what happened with the pay-per-view. Sorry, Howard, if I spoiled anything, but it's a real good match, so go watch it. I think Io Shirai is moving up. I don't know that she will be on Raw, but I'm thinking that she will be on Raw. So I definitely think that she's the pretty safe bet call-up.
Charlotte.
Okay, you think we get a Charlotte bring back?
Mm-hmm.
She's been off TV for a while. Her fiance is making some crazy bad hype behind the scenes. He got released by WWE and is probably almost certainly going to AEW in the very near future. He will be probably a big talent there, but he had some real harsh words for the WWE creative team on his parting notes there. So I'm interested to see what that does. But yeah, I agree. I do think that Charlotte makes a comeback on Raw against probably Rhea Ripley, who we both predicted earlier will almost certainly win the belt.
Howard thinks Brock shows up.
I could see that, man. Brock showing up. Rumor has it he's coming back. You know, that big April Fool's joke that was going around about Brock going to AEW. I even got Matt with it. Matt was like, what? And I was like, April Fool's. So it was pretty funny. I was hoping he hadn't seen the April Fool's joke going around yet, and I got him with it. So I think that we see... I'm going to go with... it's a hard one. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch shows up. I think Becky Lynch inserts herself into the title picture. I think that Becky Lynch holds the belts until SummerSlam, and I think Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch have a match at SummerSlam. That's what I think the storyline builds up to, so I'm taking Becky Lynch back on Monday night.
I think you could get Ronda back as well. I mean...
You think they could both come back?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we for sure get one of the two. I think that they were not both ready to come back, and Vince wanted them both back to do WrestleMania in front of fans, and it just wasn't going to happen, so they saved that. You know, they've said that Ronda has a guaranteed date for returning. They won't announce that and say what it is, but agreed. A shock factor for Raw. A title changing hands is a shock factor. A big name making a splash that we weren't expecting. I mean, I think that it's Becky. I think it's Becky that comes back. I think she makes the biggest return. Because here's the thing. I think Rhea Ripley takes the belt. I think we both agree Rhea Ripley's going to take the belt. Asuka's going to take some time off. And I think that Rhea Ripley comes out, shoots some type of promo, and I think that Becky Lynch comes in at the end of the show. So I could absolutely see that. Well, see, and Howard's thinking that Lashley's going to get to keep the belt. See, I don't think so. I don't think Lashley gets to keep the belt. I think that Lashley drops it to McIntyre to give him his WrestleMania moment that he truly deserves. So that's what I think. I think we both agreed that McIntyre's taking that belt from him. And we've already seen McIntyre Brock. I don't know if we'd see it again, but maybe they give it another storyline run. I think Brock comes back to face Roman if he's coming back, though. I think they burn this storyline with Edge Daniel Bryan. I think that we might even see Edge Daniel Bryan move into its own storyline. But I really think that they have Roman Reigns beat the underdog in Daniel Bryan and the rated R superstar in Edge, which is the big comeback story. I think Roman Reigns puts him down, takes the title on Monday night or to SmackDown on Friday night, and I think that Brock maybe comes back there and does the shock factor. Well, I mean,
you'll put 2 belts on Big E?
I mean, I think that we agree that Big E probably doesn't need a belt, but I think they do want to have Big E drop the belt to Apollo Crews, because I think Apollo Crews with that belt and the gimmick goes over pretty funny. And Big E has the most potential to be his own push. So I could definitely see that. But I don't know. I don't think I think we're going to get some debuts on SmackDown. I think Adam Cole goes to SmackDown.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Adam Cole goes to SmackDown. I think there's a big boost from a call-up on Raw, and then I think there is a big return on Raw. And then I also think that there is a same thing, a call-up on SmackDown and a return on SmackDown. I think Adam Cole is the call-up on SmackDown. That could be a lot of fun. Cole McIntyre would be fun, though. Cole versus anybody is awesome. By the way, Howard, if you haven't watched it, Cole O'Reilly. Get it. Watch it.
It's aggressive.
Make it happen. Real good. NXT Stand and Deliver. Both of us agree. Fantastic pay-per-view. I'm going to go back and watch some more matches from it because I want to see them again. They were that good. I rushed through watching them in comparison to what I normally do because I've just been short for time this week with a lot of stuff going on. And those of you that watched our breaks and our podcast last night, I got a COVID shot and was very out of it. So, it's been a busy week. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to rewatching some of those matches because, man, they were real good. Stand and Deliver, by far one of the better wrestling pay-per-views we've had in a long time. Very, very well done, and they put it all on the line. You can tell the people that are having their last hurrah in NXT at that pay-per-view. So
I don't know why, but you just made me think of another one that could possibly get called up, and it's not one that we talked about.
Who?
Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, yes.
There's really no reason to leave him down there other than he's kind of been...
He's sold a lot of people being down there. Like, they've had him be the guy that works a lot of people.
But, I mean, he could stand on his own for sure.
I like Tommaso Ciampa a lot. I think that could be a main roster call-up. He's one that doesn't necessarily need to hold a belt to build his name. I think he could be, absolutely. Next shocking signing from any promotion prediction. Shocking signing meaning any promotion signs a shocking person or the WWE signs a shocking talent from any other promotion. Which direction? I
don't think WWE signs that many talents anymore. The only ones they would get would be New Japan, big guys out of there.
And AEW people aren't going back right now. I don't think,
AEW aren't moving back. So
big signing any promotion.
I would say that Thea Trinidad, which was Zelina Vega, I 100% assume that she is going to sign with AEW. She's way too good to not be. I think that's a big one.
Shocking though. What's going to be a shocking one? There's not a lot out there. I mean, a lot of the people that wanted their releases have kind of got them. Aleister Black, we talked about it. I think he's going to come back to WWE. But Matt thinks he's done. Thinks he's going to go with his wife. I got to be honest. If Aleister Black goes anywhere but WWE, that's going to be a shocking signing. I really think that they're going to utilize him in WWE in some way, and his character is legit. If he goes, I mean, AEW, New Japan, either one of those would be really lucky to have him. I don't think he would go as far down as Impact. No. But I think that he's an AEW talent, and AEW brings him on, and he gets a real good push in AEW because Aleister Black is phenomenal to watch. Super underrated.
You could get Kota Ibushi. He just dropped the New Japan World title to Will Ospreay. So
it's true. That is true.
Mean, he could sign somewhere. He's been over here to do the...
Yeah, he did the first... Didn't he do the first Dusty Classic?
No, not the Dusty Classic. What's the other thing called? Because the Dusty is the Tag Team Classic. They did.
Oh, that's right. The no, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the like.
It's like the inaugural something.
Yeah. And he did that.
He did that. So that could be a big one, but I don't know, man. There's not really a lot right now. There's everybody seems to kind of be put where they are.
So Howard thinks that Daniel Bryan, since his contract's over after Mania, that he is going to go to AEW.
I bet he finishes at WWE. I don't.
And be done with it, you think? The Bellas are supposed to be coming back to WWE, so I'm interested to see what that means for Daniel Bryan.
Okada to Impact. I don't ever see that happening. They don't have enough money for Okada.
That's probably true. Okada's a top.
So
talent.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, Okada I think goes.
That would be like Randy Orton going to AEW. Like it doesn't happen. He's worth too much.
But it could.
You think Randy Orton could go to AEW?
Yeah.
No way.
Randy Orton, I think after watching the interviews and everything he said, I think Randy Orton could go to AEW. I think Randy Orton wants the respect from the company that he's owed. If that's ever broken, I think he could go. I actually think that, I don't know. I think things have stabilized a little bit. Christian was kind of a big deal going to AEW. Apparently negotiations kind of fell apart with WWE. WWE wasn't pushing very hard for it. WWE not looking to bring in part-time talent. I don't know. I could see that being the case where, that was kind of one of the last for a while. But, I mean, after WrestleMania, you have a couple of weeks, and then you start seeing people get their release. So, they're going to cut some roster space here pretty soon. And
well, they just started the next NXT class, so we know that there's not any crazy people coming over. The only thing I could think is that, and people have talked about it for a long time, Marty Scurll, that he could go to WWE. And the other one that I know that WWE's been interested in is Hangman Page.
Yeah.
Those would be two big ones that WWE could snag.
But would they get Hangman, though? Hangman's pretty tight with Cody and that.
Apparently, he almost didn't sign with AEW when they started it. Like, there was talk. I mean, Marty Scurll didn't, and there was talks that Hangman wouldn't. I mean, now he's so solid there.
Right.
It's like
he's a staple in the promotion.
I would wonder about them letting him go, but
I don't know. I could see that. Okada Omega again in the U.S. for the first time.
I mean, they can do that right now because they have that working relationship. So AEW is doing stuff with New Japan, and New Japan is also doing stuff with Impact. So it kind of just replaces the old Ring of Honor versus New Japan.
Right.
AEW kind of has that now.
Is Ring of Honor gone?
No, they're still around. They just don't have a ton of names that you'll know.
Yeah, because they all went to AEW in New Japan. Well, most of them were in New Japan, vice versa, going back and forth. But AEW took a lot of them, and it's hard because AEW pays well in comparison, I think. So, I don't know. Howard, I think that there's a lot to be said about who I think could be a shocking sign for another promotion. But I don't think we see the swan song of really anybody this weekend as far as leaving WWE for WrestleMania. I think Daniel Bryan stays with WWE in some capacity. He just may not be wrestling. But I truly think that he signs a year-long contract and probably stays for another year at least and goes out on his back. Like, puts somebody over and goes out on his back. I think that's the way Daniel Bryan would want to do it. I think he will do it that way. So I fully expect him to have his, WrestleMania go out on a shield type of thing, like all the big guys want to, right? They want to go out that way because that's the way that the business is meant to be if you've done it right in your career. So Ziggler to AEW is possible, yeah, but man, they've kept him in WWE so long when he's been a middle card.
I think he's one of those people that are a lifer, That unless WWE decides to cut him, which he's always been really good at selling, and he's always been really safe for other wrestlers. Right. So
that's a big deal.
I don't foresee them getting rid of him.
Yeah, I don't know that we see any big switches. I think we've seen a few for a while. I mean, Big Show going to AEW was kind of a big deal.
Was it?
I mean, it was unexpected to see him sign with another promotion in general. I don't think it was surprising to see it be AEW. I think it was just surprising. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't know. I don't know. I think there are some guys that are just lifers with WWE. Zack Ryder was a surprising one to see him get cut because he was like social media management, helped educate a lot of the young guys and stuff. But I'm glad he left because he's been able to get kind of a push in as Matt Cardona and other brands. So, I'm all right with that. I don't know. I think it's pretty set where it's at. I don't expect a lot of change after WrestleMania. I think Daniel Bryan signs again. Maybe he takes a little time off TV, but then he probably signs again. So I'm going to go with that. I think that's. I think our picks are pretty solid for the weekend. I'm pretty safe with them. How are you?
I think we got good picks.
Good. Yep, we got good picks.
One of us is washing a car.
Yeah, mine are better because he's going to be washing my Corvette, and I guess there's a chance I wash his, but it's very low percentage. If y'all watch my podcast, you know that me and Blake's podcast, I do a lot of investing and a lot of good speculation. So in this case, that fits right in. I'm speculating on a bunch of random choreographed matches. So that being the case, obviously I know what I'm doing. No, but I'm the next guy. But y'all don't have to know that. It's okay. Matt doesn't know that. Matt thinks I'm an expert, so we're going to keep that going. The confidence is building. Man, all right. We've covered a lot of bases. I had a lot of fun tonight, man. I appreciate you coming on, spending your evening here with being able to open some packs for the first time. Hopefully you had a good time on our Area 51 stream, and you'll come back in the future and do some stuff with us going forward.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. It's fun to see that, like, wrestling cards just in general are, like, that they're a thing, and that it's growing in popularity because I've been a fan of wrestling for so long. So
well, and sports cards have been, just a firestorm. Hurricane level for a while. But wrestling cards have been catching up little by little, and recently wrestling cards really kind of jumped a lot, and they're starting to see the same kind of promotional jumps and pricing values. So it's good. That Ria Ripley is worth a few bucks. That Undertaker's definitely worth a few bucks. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, good luck, everybody. Don't forget we have that giveaway ending at 9 a.m. tomorrow on our Instagram, A51 Collects. All you got to do, like us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and then tag a friend on that Instagram post to get you entered to win a complete base set of this Topps Finest that you saw here, and it gets you entered to win a potential Topps Chrome 2020 base set for WWE. I can tell you right now, there is a handful of people that are already in, but there's plenty of room. We will do that drawing. I'll video it. I'll do it right here on YouTube tomorrow morning, so do check that out. You can catch the results to see if you win, and if you do win, we'll ship these directly to you. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. I know some of you are going to be catching this later on, so we thank you for watching our videos. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that little subscribe button down below. It means the world to us. Matt, thank you for being a special guest tonight, talking wrestling, all things WrestleMania. We will bring to you him washing my car. One of us washing the other's car to see who got the most picks right. Don't worry, I won't let y'all not see all of that wonderful action. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you back on Monday night for the podcast right here on Twitch, 8:30 Central Standard Time. We will be doing a little WrestleMania recap, a brief segment. We have lots of fun stuff because Golden Girls, that's Blake's wife, is coming on to open Houdini's Mystery Fun Breaks box. That'll be box number 3, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So going to be awesome. Howard says, nice to meet you, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
So we will have some fun talk. Everybody, we'll see you back here on Monday night for Area 51. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy WrestleMania. We'll see you next time.